Morning. Finishing off the show, Greg, this morning with some Prince 1999.
It's not my fault now because the mics are in the wrong places.
Yeah, we'll blame the mics.
Always blame the mics.
Always.
All right, thanks,
Have a good
Marty.
show. Thanks,
See
Greg.
you in the morning. Okay, it is almost 9 o'clock and it's time for the news headlines. Coming up thereafter, of course, it is Monday's 9 till noon show. But for now, let's cross over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Government opposition parties are set to unite this week when a landmark motion demanding accountability for the defective concrete block crisis is brought before the Dáil. 100% Redress Deputy Charles Ward says the motion on Wednesday will expose state failures, broken promises and the abandonment of thousands of families living in crumbling homes. The motion demands answers and action on oversight failure, the current redress scheme, the absence of a scheme for social homes, scientific failures and the human cost of the crisis. Deputy Ward says it's about time the government is finally held to account.
This motion is about taking the scheme and making it work. This is about the devil being the detail with the government. We're calling them out in it. We're actually going to make them accountable for once. And to show how serious this issue is, the government will now be held accountable for the first time since we were elected.
Donald Trump has landed in Israel as the first of Hamas's hostages are returned. 7 people who were being held captive are now in Israeli territory, and the Red Cross is at another meeting point to collect more survivors. Once the transfer is completed, Israel has committed to release thousands of Palestinian prisoners. It marks the first phase of the US-backed peace deal. Speaking in Tel Aviv in the last few minutes, US President Donald Trump says he managed to resonate with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
He's a wartime president. He did a very good job. I had some disputes with him, and they were quickly settled. I can tell you that. But as far as I'm concerned, I think he's done a great job. I think he was the right person at this time. You know, look, it's been this way for centuries. You know, we're not talking about for 10 years, for 5. It's been this way for centuries. And he did a great job. And working with me, he was fantastic.
Donegal County Council has conducted a total of 18 investigations into suspected illegal short-term lets in the county over the past 3 years. According to figures obtained by the Irish Independent, 4 investigations have been carried out so far this year, 9 last year and 5 in 2023. 1,617 investigations have been opened since 2023 into properties across the country suspected of breaching planning laws around short-term lets. Owners who rent out their property for short-term or holiday letting for more than 90 days a year must secure planning permission to do so. The only enforcement action taken in the majority of cases was sending a warning letter to owners. And a man in his 50s has died in a motorbike crash in County Limerick. The single vehicle collision happened near Drumcolliher at around 7 o'clock last night. The motorcyclist was pronounced dead at the scene. Finally, for weather, dry and mostly cloudy today with isolated sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
In life, you've around 29,000 days. And those days can be full of what ifs. Like, what if it doesn't work? But what if it does? What if you really went after it? Because life is measured in those moments. So go after every one. Talk to AIB today and let's see how we can turn your what ifs into what's next. AIB, for the life you're after. Allied Irish Banks plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to another week of the 9 till noon show. How are you keeping? How was your weekend, for that matter? Hope you had a good one, peaceful one. Great to have you with us for the start of another week, as I mentioned here. And it's just 3 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 13th of October. And our lines are open for you. So anything we've got lined up for you, if you want to give us a comment, please feel free to WhatsApp or text 086 60 25,000. Maybe there's an issue you want us to talk about, or maybe some good news you wish to pass on. You can call as well to 07491 25,000 or email comments@highlandradio.com. And of course, you can watch this programme every single day on your smart TV or your Fire Stick, on the YouTube app, Highland Radio Ireland, or on Facebook and on the X platform. Let's see what's making some of the front and inside the papers today. We'll start with the Derry People Donegal News, and calls are to be made for the opening of community centres to allow people to take refuge from their structurally unsafe homes during severe weather warnings. Storm Amy battered Donegal earlier this month, with the county recording some of the highest speed winds during the red weather warning. In response to Storm Amy, Donegal County Council arranged for the opening of a number of community-based emergency hubs across the county and coordinated a response with Civil Defence to provide essential services. Well, Councillor Thomas Sean Devine of the 100% Redress Party said Storm Amy was upgraded to a red alert warning with very short notice. He's expected to call on the MD to support him in his calls for the opening of community centres, clubs, when orange weather alerts are in place. Okay, so we'll see how that progresses there. On to the Derry News this morning, and First Catholic Chaplaincy opens at Magee campus. Catholic Chaplaincy has opened at Ulster University's Magee campus in Derry, the first in the institution's 160-year history. The chaplaincy formally launched on Tuesday, October 7th. Current chaplain Father Patrick Lagan said he had been very pleased with the turnout and engagement of the Magee students. On to the nationals now, and of course, as you can imagine, the situation in the Middle East making most of the front pages. After more than 2 years, the last remaining hostages held by Hamas in Gaza were due to be released in the early hours of this morning. 7 have already been released, another 13 to be released shortly. Israelis have been celebrating in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square ever since US President Donald Trump announced the ceasefire. The excitement was palpable as crowds gathered last night ahead of live TV coverage. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a televised address to the nation, said today would be a historic day, the beginning of a new path, a path of building, of healing, and I hope a path of uniting hearts. Hamas confirmed yesterday it had located all 20 living hostages following a partial military redeployment by Israeli Defense Forces as part of the Gaza ceasefire. Hamas had not, however, located all 28 deceased hostages. And I suppose there's an awful lot goes on in these situations now. Hamas has called its leaders to action effectively because there is a fear now that there'll be internal issues within the area as people return to their places of residence, whatever's left of them and what have you. But of course you do need a police force, don't you? And it's Hamas that's calling their people together to provide that. Now, the system is broken. That's according to the papers today, and it's the non-payment of TV licences. Convictions have plummeted in that regard. Convictions for non-payment of television licences have plummeted by 30% in the space of just 3 years amid the ongoing fallout from the RTE pay scandal. It comes as sales of television licences fell by 31% in 4 years, as opposition politicians warned that the current system is broken beyond repair. Ireland had 3,512 convictions for non-payment of television licences in 2022, with convictions falling to 2,917 in 2023. However, the court service confirmed to the Irish Independent convictions fell to 2,452 last year, down 30% in 3 years. So less people are buying TV licences, but there are less convictions for that. Is it a crime? Would you call that a crime? For that... for not doing so, maybe it is a crime. Figures for 2025 are not yet available, but anecdotal evidence is that the overall rate of convictions continues to fall. So I think people either feel they don't have to pay the licence or they're not going to. Sinn Féin TD Pearse Doherty warned that the combination of the ongoing impact of RTE's pay scandal and fluctuations in the fines and convictions relating to licence fee non-payment underlines the fact that an overhaul of the entire system is now imperative. The system is broken. 1/3 of households do not pay the television licence, and up to 9,000 people are dragged before the courts for not paying it, he said. What does that look like, though? A new TV licence system. More and more people, and especially young people, are watching TV different ways now. They're not watching scheduled TV as much as they might have in the past. Young people now, they watch the streaming platforms, they watch TikTok, they watch YouTube, they watch highlights of stuff. They're not sitting down and watching TV. So What are you actually billing them for? You know, they're not consuming the news on the television as such, not in the numbers that once did. So what does a new system look like? It is effectively to pay for RTE, if the truth be told. Now, there is some redistribution to some extent now, with independents getting a small fraction of it, but overall the vast majority of it is to maintain RTE. And I suppose it's easy to say, well, you don't need RTE, or do you? I don't know. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. The Irish Daily Mail reporting on the presidential election. Presidential candidate Catherine Connolly was scrambling last night to explain her claim to be pro-European Union after being unable to recall any instance where she supported EU treaties. Fine Gael candidate Heather Humphreys sought to create a wedge with voters on the issue, claiming in yesterday's RTE debate that Ms Connolly voted against every European treaty. Ms Humphreys said the independent candidate would damage Ireland's diplomatic efforts, stating, you insulted our allies, France, UK, Germany and the US. Go to page 4 here. That doesn't go without consequences. How are you going to talk to them? Will they want to talk to you? You've insulted them. That being said, I think certainly in our part of the world, being kind of anti-EU treaty might not be the worst thing for your candidacy. I'm not sure being pro-Europe is necessarily a prerequisite of being President of Ireland, or is it? I don't know. What do you guys think? On to the red top tabloids now, and really very little in them, to be honest with you. A rare ocean sunfish has been found washed up on the beach off the coast of West Donegal, though. It was discovered by friends walking over the weekend at the back strand in Falcarra. The dead fish, which has a disc shape, was spotted by pals Mary Doherty and Adele Patton. Ocean sunfish, which can weigh up to 1,000 kilograms when fully grown, are native to tropical and temperature waters, warm temperature waters around the world, but not normally seen around here. But this one found its way up there. It's certainly not, this one's not 1,000 kilograms anyway, but still an interesting find. If you're a multitasker, be extra careful, according to the Irish Daily Star, because multitasking makes people significantly more likely to fall for online scams. This according to a new study. Email users are at greater risk of becoming victims of phishing when they are trying to do two or more things at once. Professor Jinglu Zhang said when people are overloaded, their ability to notice suspicious cues drops. So if you're all over the place in your computers and at home, be extra vigilant, because apparently you're prime for the scammers. And by the way, you know, everything's getting smaller now. If you look at the size of a chocolate bar at the counter, it's tiny compared to what they once were. And of course, your biscuit tins, they're getting smaller. And your boxes of sweets, they're also getting smaller, or they appear to be getting smaller. Well, they are getting smaller, effectively, because Nestle has cut an average of 5 sweets from their quality street Christmas selection boxes this year. The popular tubs have been reduced to a weight of just 550 grams. That's down 50 grams. And that's a 29% fall since the plastic versions were first introduced in 2013, and at €7 in most supermarkets. The price is also at a record high. Less sweets, more price. You're not going mad. The boxes are getting smaller. The amount of sweets are getting smaller. So there you go. £7 though for a box of sweets. They could be shooting themselves in the foot though, I think. All right, that was a run through some of the stories making the papers today. Anything in there catch your ear? If you have you a comment on any of that? The lines are open for you, of course, for all of your correspondence. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts that number, or if you choose to, you can give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
When you're pregnant, you should start to feel your baby move around 16 to 20 weeks. Anything from a kick or a flutter to a swish or roll. Always talk to your maternity hospital straight away if you're worried about their movements. Visit mychild.ie for advice on pregnancy, baby and toddler health.
With the phasing out of R32 refrigerant and heat pumps, discover next generation comfort with the new award-winning Grant Airona R290 heat pump. delivering exceptional performance with quiet operation. The Grant Airona R290, heating for the future. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.ie.
Discover amazing deals at Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagori, Strabane. Enjoy a 2-course menu for £19.95 Monday to Friday, €1 for pound night Wednesday and steak night Thursday. Sunday carvery from 12:30 to 3:30. Party packages and function rooms available. Call 02871 382905 to book.
The future of driving is here. Hyundai are built for what's next, so you can step into tomorrow, today. With innovations in smart tech and style, Hyundai continues as a leader, selling the most plug-in and electric cars in Ireland. The future is today. The future is Hyundai. Step into the future of driving by visiting the Hyundai 261 Open Weekend.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny.
You can make your home more energy efficient, lower your energy bills and increase your home's value with an SSE Electricity Generation Green Home Upgrade. Our SEAI registered one-stop shop takes care of everything, from full home retrofits to individual upgrades, like insulation, heat pumps and more. We'll even handle your SEAI grant applications and project manage the works, so you can sit back and relax. Learn more at sseelectricity.com/home upgrade. Grants offered are provided by the Government of Ireland through the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland.
Would you like to join Highland Radio's award-winning news and current affairs team? We're seeking a full-time journalist. The successful applicant will be integral to the delivery of local news and current affairs across our broadcast and digital platforms. The role is highly hands-on and requires a keen interest in the issues and people of our community. You can apply by forwarding your CV to Greg Hughes at highlandradio.com or by post to Head of News, Highland Radio, Mountaintop, Letterkenny, County Donegal. Applications close on Friday the 17th of October.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time's now 16 minutes past 9. Welcome back. Councillor Jack Murray joins me on the programme now. Good morning, Jack. Thanks for your time.
Morning, Greg. No
we're speaking to you off the back of some contact you've had from people over the weekend with fireworks being thrown at them. Now, this is wrong on so many levels. These are highly illegal to be found in possession of, but incredibly dangerous to be used in any fashion that's not controlled. But to use them as weapons or throw them at people's crazy.
Yeah, the fireworks are small explosives. They're extremely dangerous, and there's very, very strict laws in Ireland because of that. I was contacted by a man who's up Mulcroney Main Street on Saturday night around 8 o'clock, and the fireworks, they weren't actually being thrown, they were being held and fired horizontally from an area known as Japs Lane, fired across the street. I just missed this man and his young daughter, who was obviously extremely shook by that. I know that there was a disabled lady who had been trying to cross the road at the same time, just missed her, and there was a family of tourists nearby as well, very, very shook by it. I also was contacted by a lady up around Mulberry Avenue, the Meadows area. There was a group of about 20 young people firing fireworks, and she'd advised her young daughter was too scared to leave the house, even to call up to meet her friends because of what was happening. So, look, I know that Halloween is a time you get up to mischief. I did it myself as a kid, but we need to have some consideration for people. This type of intimidation and extremely dangerous behaviour needs to stop. People need to have a bit of cop on and think about what they're doing. But there'll also be consequences for themselves. The guards have been contacted about this. There's been video footage recorded of those responsible, and the guards will be looking to get them. And as you said yourself, there's very strict laws on fireworks, and there could be a hefty penalty for anybody caught in possession of them, particularly those who use them in a very dangerous manner. So, look, they might have had their fun this weekend, but they need to stop now because it'll end up coming on themselves if they get arrested by the guards.
Yeah, and I suppose we as sort of parents and guardians and grandparents really may need to make sure that they know how dangerous and also how illegal this activity is, dependent on their age, of course. Maybe they're well aware of that, but it's well worth, I think, having the conversation in the house.
Yeah, and I'm sure they know it's dangerous. They mightn't realise just how strict the laws are. Possession of fireworks can carry a fine of up to €10,000, or can even lead to imprisonment. So they need to step back from this. As I said, we all got up to mischief when we were kids, but this is very, very serious serious behaviour, and comes with a very, very serious penalty. So they need to take stock of what they're doing, the impact that they're having on their own community, but like there's consequences for themselves too, and I'd be warning them to be very mindful of that. And the guards will be out over the Halloween period and in the build up to it. They will be patrolling. As I say, there was video footage recorded of those responsible, so that's in the possession of the Gardaí now. So I think it's time now to take stock and just stop this activity.
Yeah, for sure, and obviously thinking on mostly for those who these were fired at. But I mean, someone's going to end up in the ED with the hand off them. It happens every single year, right across the country, where people return to fireworks that haven't lit correctly or whatever it might be, with fingers missing and all manner of damage done, eyes lost. It happens every year, like.
Yeah, look, there's strict laws on this for a very good reason. These are small explosives. They're extremely dangerous. As you say, you can blow your fingers off. You could take an eye out. Look, much worse. Like it's extremely, extremely dangerous, and that's why they are so strictly regulated. So, look, people can get them. They go into the area and they can get them, but they need to realise just the danger of what they have. People have been very seriously injured in Buncrana from fireworks in the past, so I'm sure they'll be able to tell them of the dangers of it. But look, for many reasons, they need to just stop this activity.
You say the guards are aware of it. The guards are aware of it. There is video footage of those alleged to be responsible. They'll continue their investigations in that regard, of course. But the guards obviously will be out and about patrolling as they normally are, and will be taking this very seriously.
Absolutely, and look, and I'll be liaising with the Gardaí. Anybody that contacts me, I'll be relaying that information to the Gardaí. Look, we don't want any young people to get arrested or their futures to be destroyed by this. But look, they need to reflect themselves and stop. Just stop. Look, there'll be no consequences. They just stop doing it. And look, it's for the good of our community. It's good for everybody. And with the Buncrana is thriving at the moment. We've got the Nighttime Economy Initiative is bringing people to the town. We're going to have a Halloween parade just before Halloween. It's fantastic. It's a great time to be in Buncrana. Everybody will enjoy this Halloween period, so we shouldn't tarnish this or bring it down in any way. Just look, let's all enjoy it together and have fun together. All
right, good stuff. Councillor Jack Murray there. Any other instances, or was that isolated to Buncrana at the weekend? Let me know. 08660 25,000. Liam was in touch via email. In the Irish Times last Friday, Justin McCarthy pointed out that Jim Gavin is still on the ballot paper and could theoretically win. In that crazy case, she points out, or Justine McCarthy, I beg your pardon, in that crazy case, she points out that Article 12.3.3 of the Constitution could apply, requiring another election to be held within 60 days if a president-elect resigns before the inauguration. This raises an interesting option for voters, not particularly enthusiastic about the remaining two candidates. Vote Jim Gavin for a replay. That's according to Liam, and indeed that's something we discussed on the show long before last Friday, and I'm surprised it hasn't sort of gathered more of a pace as something of a protest. Morning, Greg. I wonder if I can raise an issue with you. Of course you can. As a regular walker at Ballymastocker Beach, Warden, Port Salam, I'm extremely concerned about the ongoing environmental disaster that's occurring to the sand dunes there. The dunes are regressing at an alarming rate. I estimate that the dunes have gone back as far as 20 metres in the last 2 years. I flagged this matter last year with Donegal County Council, but they never responded to me, and I've attached pictures for reference. Greg, in my opinion, there needs to be an urgent assessment carried out on this matter. My fear is that if action is not taken immediately, we risk losing what's left of the dunes this coming winter, and that would be a tragedy, to put it mildly. And I did see those pictures, and there is indeed quite a lot of regression there. We'll make our own inquiries with the council as well to see what their plan of action, if any, is. I'm not sure. Can you hold back everything? I don't know. Well, anyway, but I'm not in any way sort of brushing over your concerns. You have to have NCT yearly for safety, says a listener, yet most collisions are caused by inexperienced young drivers. There should be an annual resit for all teenage drivers who commit offences, believes a listener. Okay, that's one suggestion. On the issue of scam calls, I got scam calls, or I get them all the time, but they can name me by full name. Now I'm afraid if they might be a legitimate call, how do you know the difference? Well, if you are, when we talk about things being leaked, you do get a situation where often your name and number can be leaked, if there's been some sort of an attack on a system or other. So that doesn't mean anything, really, that they know your name. It doesn't mean anything about its legitimacy. But I suppose just tease it out more with them, and say you'll ring them back. Take a number and say, I'll call you back, but actually use the official number. Right. I've lived in Mahermelan, says a listener. It's beautiful. The road was supposed to be tarred, but they haven't tarred it at all. They haven't tarred it all. They should have tarred Mahery Crossroads down to Mahermelan. They've missed the most dangerous part of the road. Don't know what's going on there. If you know, let me know. 08660 25,000. Right, now, Anne-Marie McDevitt, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. What about yourself?
I'm doing okay, thanks, yep.
Yeah, I've heard about this. This comes up time and time again, and it really has changed my attitude to sticking the dishwasher or the dryer on, to be honest with you. You had an incident with your dishwasher recently. Tell us what happened, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I did, yeah. And like yourself, it's changed my attitude massively too. It happened last Wednesday night. I was just squaring around in the kitchen, the final kind of clean down before settling down to watch Celebrity Traders, which was the first night of it. And I had to put the dishwasher on. And so I was in the kitchen. The dishwasher was only on about 5 minutes. And I was standing virtually next to it, doing a few other bits and pieces. And just out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw steam coming from the top of the dishwasher out through the top door, because it was one of the integrated units. But then I looked and I realized it was smoke, which was quickly turning into black smoke.
Which obviously was not far off a fire at that point then.
Well, see, this is it. I shouted to my husband. He came in, and the kids came in. Ariel and Troy came in. And so he back slightly, and that was when we realized that it was actually on fire.
And how did you deal with that fire?
Sorry?
How did you deal with the fire? Because it's an integrated unit, isn't it? And sorry, the sound, you're switching between hands-free and non-hands-free, I think, and it's a bit confusing.
I am, sorry. I do apologize for that.
No,
sorry.
that's all right.
So basically what happened then, he pulled the door back and the flames were starting to come up. It was the actual control console that was on fire. So we closed the door, and this is when I am highly embarrassed to say we don't have a fire extinguisher in the house. We don't have a fire blanket in the house. And so we shut the door, and we're thinking, right, okay. So my mind was thinking, well, the only thing that we can do here is to let this get out of control, is to start to smother the fire the best that we could. So I got a damp towel and opened it up nice and handy. Flames were coming out of the top of the console, and I put the damp towel on it and started my best way, I suppose, to try and smother it. So Gary has a cousin, Noel McDevitt, who is in the Glencolmkill Fire Service, and he called him to basically get a bit of advice. What do we do in our situation where we don't have any fire extinguishers or fire blanket? What should we do? And Noel said, do what you're doing. He said, the objective is exactly that, smother the fire the best way you can. So the kids, my son and daughter, Ariel and Troy, they then started dampening down a few more towels, because I realized then I could feel the heat coming through the towel that I initially put on. My hand was on it. So basically every good towel in the place got dampened, and they started coming with towels. Now, Gary works in the Ashland Centre in Kilcar, and he knew exactly where the fire extinguishers, the relevant ones, were going to be. So he left the house to run down to the Ashland, which is like 2 minutes from where we live, to get a fire extinguisher. So what was happening then, though, Greg, was any little bit that the smoke could come out of, the smoke was coming out of, and it was black. So between myself and the kids, we were basically had this little towel pyramid on, or a barricade, to try and get the smoke to die down. But the house was filled, the kitchen was filled with smoke. And my smoke alarm, which would go off if I made a slice of toast, didn't go off.
Wow.
I was gobsmacked. Yeah. So within a few minutes after that, the two lads, Noel came out from Glencolmkill, fair play to him, because it's good to have somebody, you know what I mean, to have a little bit of backup, in a situation like that. And then Gary landed back, but at that stage I had pretty much got the fire out, but the place was riddled with smoke. The smell was desperate, and the door was like pretty badly scorched. The console at the top of the dishwasher had melted. But yeah, that was the situation we were in. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. And like yourself, would have left the dishwasher on at night, would never have left the house with the dishwasher on, but the amount of people I relayed this story to who have said exactly the same thing back to me. They don't have a fire extinguisher in the house, and they would have left the house and left the dishwasher on. So I suppose we're all kind of guilty of it, but my attitude has really changed.
Yeah,
really changed.
This was a concern I've expressed in the programme before, Anne-Marie, about cheaper electricity at certain times, like overnight with smart meters and all that type of stuff. And the temptation would be to put the likes of the dishwasher or the tumble dryer on and go to bed. I mean, have you allowed yourself to imagine with the fire alarm not going off, if you would have done that, this would have happened? You don't want to think about it, right? But I mean, it's impossible not to.
I mean, you're 100%. Yeah, you're 100% right. We're all kind of drawn towards that cheaper electricity because it's expensive. And the other, if we weren't in the house, it would have resulted in a house fire, undoubtedly. I mean, I was standing next to it, Greg, and it went on fire. Like within minutes, I realized it was on fire, and we were working on it. So you can imagine, even 10 minutes, like the units in the kitchen were all on fire, definitely,
Mm-hmm. And which bit went on fire? I suppose it depends on, is it where you input the cycle and all that type of stuff?
Exactly, yeah. So that control console, the bit at the top when you open the door. Yeah. Now, I have to say...
Is it on the door? Is yours on the door? Go ahead. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's at the very top of the door.
Okay,
you've got your integrated unit where the actual kitchen unit is basically attached to the dishwasher, if you like, so it's all flush with the other units. And this dishwasher, you're going to laugh, was actually 18 years old. Now, and the thing is, I know it's very old in comparison to, but I mean, it went in at the time we built the house, but it never gave any indication that there was anything wrong with it. It never stopped working. It never, nothing. It didn't give any bother, just went straight for the jugular and went on fire.
Amazing. But I don't think its age is a factor here because... it was an electrical fault, and you could have an electrical fault in one you put in yesterday, but it really is scary to think about it. And it's counterintuitive, isn't it? Something that uses water going on fire, but we see that with washing machines and dryers. I wouldn't put them on. I'd be more inclined to put them on if I was leaving the house, although I don't really do that much, but I'd be very unlikely to put them on overnight, even if the electricity is cheaper, because I just don't trust them. We were doing a one of these sort of, get the message out with someone from the fire service, and they themselves had a dishwasher that went on fire and wouldn't dream of using it at night. So
yeah, it's nuts. It does really make you think, and I suppose in the run up to Christmas as well, when people are having a lot of extra lights around their house and stuff, and some of the lights that you buy with either Christmas lights or Christmas tree lights, a lot of them, I suppose, they're massively manufactured. They might not be as safe as we think. And, when you come home at night and you see a lot of people with Christmas lights on all night, now that's something that has always baffled me, and it has always made me nervous and worried. I would never, ever do that. But, since this, and I mean, yourself, mobile phones, I mean, the chargers are all little bits of plastic. There's, a massive tendency for these things to go on fire, but the dishwasher one, I have to say, absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah, and... You recognise yourself, as a caller points out, that you shouldn't use wet towels. But I mean, if the power has been cut to the dishwasher, and you've got advice, and it's the only thing to stop your house going on fire, we know it's not ideal, but you'd reduce the risk of electrocution. So, but it's no harm to remind people you wouldn't do that if the dishwasher was still plugged in, of course, and still taking power.
No, not at all. Because I was second-guessing myself with exactly that, thinking, well, should I put a damp towel on this or should I not? And I thought, well, there's no electricity coming to it, but there is flames coming up. So the only thing I can try and do is smother this the best way I can. Yeah. And it did work. But, your person who's texting there is exactly right. I wouldn't normally have done that. And if I had a fire blanket, as I say, I'm an idiot now. And I have two of them ordered on order and fire extinguishers, it could have been too little too late, but I'm sure a lot of people listening in are in the same boat as me that don't have...
The thing that's slightly more concerning is, and to get to the bottom of, is why the fire alarm didn't trigger, because you say burning toast would set it off.
Exactly.
That's kind of concerning, because we do rely greatly on those, don't we?
100%, totally. Yeah, it was an episode that, when we got through it, we're all kind of four of us looking at each other, it's thinking, did that really just happen? And the smell of smoke. I mean, is rotten. And now we're at the stage we have no dishwasher. And I was laughing at my son yesterday, and he's like, "This washing up carry-on is terrible. When's the new dishwasher coming?"
Well, so kids will be
like
kids.
the
He was
old
born.
days,
He was born with one. The dishwasher's probably twice his age or something.
Well,
Right.
this is the thing. He's 18, so he only knows
Okay, so he's as
dishwashers.
old as the dishwasher. All right, then. So when are you on the radio next time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When are you on the radio
I am on
next?
Saturday night.
At 11, isn't
I
it?
am on Saturday night at 11 until 1 a.m. Yeah.
Brilliant
Love
stuff.
it. It's a
All
great
right.
show. I love it. There's some amazing listeners, and I really appreciate them.
It's great to have you on board here too. Thanks, Anne-Marie. That's Anne-Marie McDevitt there, who obviously recounting her electrical fire with her dishwasher. A lot but listen, there's no shame in that game about not having a fire extinguisher, not having a fire blanket. I'm going to have to go shopping, right? Because I don't have one either. Just to back Anne-Marie up, probably should, but I don't. Sorry. But also often we get the house alarm or we get the cameras when someone's been around the house or burgled or what have you, and it's just allowing us to learn off Anne-Marie's mistake. Do we have the appropriate fire extinguishers or a fire blanket in the event of something like this happening? As it relates to the fire alarm too, that's pretty concerning, isn't it? So just a wee bit of advice, and thankfully they're all safe and sound, and we're able to limit damage to a minimum. But that being said, Anne-Marie happened to be in the kitchen at the time of the fire. Okay, so that was an advantage there. But never put a wet towel, as a listener points out, on electrical fire, because obviously that would conduct any electricity that was shorting. In this case, Anne-Marie had cut the power, but find an alternative is the advice there. And I appreciate the listener pointing that out as well. Any similar stories to that? Let's help get the message out to other people as well, because one person's experience can be a lesson learnt for them, but maybe even a lesson learnt for all of us. Anything similar or in the same space? 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Tour de Voort Nord de Viclain is verder le Chervishi bus nasca to TFI at our faller food na tira to a jangle le Ramshe Lahan Kolosti or Kyan na Bliena. So Walter Soos le Quagafin Gate at Holly Argid nor a winning to last as the Horta League TFI Desi Ogan or the Viclain. To our court their Transport for Ireland.ie is Shinna Transport for Ireland is with Umperdit.
In Ishke Erin tá líonra Ishke na Héireann á úscráidú agan. Down Saláthar Ishke atá Dlán, Sábháilte agus an Tíofa Chintiú. Déitach an obair seo Corasta Glina ó am go ham. Sin é an fá go bhfuil seirbhís for lóramh text Saranach Gagwing. Curtir nua hunratha fear ama ar fáil, maidir le hain éire seirbhíse agus oibricha planáilte a bharthaigh níos fuide ná ceithre ó an chloige de cheantar. Clórig aniu ag water.ie.
If the medical experts get it wrong, everything changes. From misdiagnosis or delayed diagnosis to surgical injury or even poor treatment, all have physical, emotional and financial consequences. We're here to help. So if your treatment didn't go according to plan, speak to our experienced medical negligence team at McElhenney & Associates. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney & Associates Solicitors, Stranorlar. In contentious business, a solicitor may not calculate fees or other charges as a percentage or proportion of any award or settlement.
Join us at Heron Auto, Donegal Town for our 261 Open Weekend from the 17th to 19th of October. Explore the latest Kia models with brand new EV4 on display with exclusive offers including finance from 0%. Open Saturday 9 to 4 and Sunday 10 to 4. Don't miss your chance to upgrade. That's Heron Auto Open Weekend, 17th to the 19th of October.
Dunnes Stores is making dinner easier with brand new options like our delicious breaded chicken range. Choose from wings, bites or crispy tenders, all 100% Irish and available in flavours like southern fried or hot and spicy. Any two for €10. Or try our new ready meals with dishes like turkey meatballs and tomato ricotta pasta or Thai chicken curry. Any two for €8.50. Plus, you can save more with your €10.50 voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
Okay, we're back after the break and on to your comments before we are joined by our next listener. In relation to shopping local, people are being urged to shop local. We've never had more houses to be built, especially with the defective concrete block crisis. I know that a lot of developers go to the north to buy materials so they don't have to pay VAT. Why can't a local developer shop local and support local jobs? We're told not to criticise developers, yet they don't support local. Well, it's a broad stroke of a statement there, I suppose. I'm not sure why people might buy materials in the north or what's going on there. But anyway, that's a caller asking them as much as they can to shop local. What is the story with hedges in the middle of the road where cars have to go to the wrong side of the road? On Sunday, I cut a lot of hedges myself because it's not safe for cars. Don't know what the story is there. The roads that I would tend to travel, and I don't want to be selfish about this, would have had their hedges cut for the most part. But I don't know. Is it the landowner? Is it the council? Do you have to lobby your local rep to get your road hedges cut? I'm not 100% sure. Councillor Paul Canning is the Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council, and listening, Paul, to Anne-Marie's experience there with the dishwasher, quite troubling. But there are fireproof dishwashers and washing machines, are there?
Not really. No, there is some of the, in particular your oil burner would have fireproof covering on it, but wash machines, tumble dryers and that. So my advice to people and anybody that do work for, I kind of tell them this, that whenever a person is paying X amount of euros for a kitchen, that they speak to the kitchen person and fireproof the area that they're putting the wash machine or the tumble dryer or the dishwasher under, because whenever you have it in a closed kitchen and you have it looking like the kitchen, it's very difficult to get into where the actual fire starts. So my advice is just fireproof that square that your area is in, and that'll slow it up. It'll not prevent it, but it'll slow it up till you get a hold of it,
And what does that look like? Is it like that, a material that you would sort of line around the inside of the space? Is it?
It's a foil backed. It's a foil backed insulation. You could say it's not unlike your wool, the wool that you use for insulating your attic.
I've seen it.
It's a thin layer of that with a foil back on it, which is it's not cumbersome. It's easy enough to hide, but it would prevent the fire spread. So it would.
But as I said, Anne-Marie, it's worrying, isn't it? Because a lot of these items are the type of items maybe people might switch on at night to try and save a bit of money, depending on, their electricity package with the smart meters now. But I don't think there's any saving that is worth the risk.
Yeah, and the situation, there's some of those elements, like including your fridge as well, and I don't want to scare people. There's some of those elements get into serious heat. But it's just that there's nothing there that is flammable within it. It's all metal. But if you were to put your hand in behind a fridge and touch some of the elements that's in there, absolutely, serious heat off them.
So the irony is it takes... exactly. It takes heat to generate the cold. The same with your dishwasher, your washing machine, and of course dryers particularly, because they can have that... It's like a tinderbox effectively on the door of the dryer if you were to leave that on too long. I think we just have to double check we've got all the right gear. Is there any?
Well, that's it. And I would say moving forward, I would, in the next few years, I would say there will be a scenario now where that you are going to have to fire cert a lot of private dwellings as well. It's going to be it's going to be because we do it for commercial buildings, so why not do it for the private dwelling that you're actually sleeping overnight in? So and those elements anyway, I would advise people to look at when they're going to their kitchen manufacturer, to actually speak to them, to put in a wee bit of fireproofing.
Not a bad idea.
Around the wash machine, the tumble dryer, and that,
buy you a bit of time, as you say. Yeah. And there, in terms of new builds now, there's no fire regulations. There's no obligation, is there, to have a fire extinguisher or a fire blanket? Obviously, listen, and we're going to get one now, trust me. But there's no obligation to have one. If you're renting your property, right?
There is a regulation there. If you're renting the property and it's under the RTB board, now there is within building control there is their advice given. It's not it's not hard and fast, but there is advice given on what you need to do to protect your home.
Yeah.
But that sort of needs to become stronger in relation to sign-off shop buildings.
Okay, listen, good advice. As you say, it's not going to prevent a fire, but certainly might slow it down to give you an opportunity to gather your thoughts and gather your things and get out if you can't control it yourself. Paul, thanks very much for your time. Councillor Paul Canning there, Cathaoirleach of the council. Following that discussion, a good idea would be to buy someone a fire blanket or a fire extinguisher for Christmas. Not the most exciting thing to be unwrapping on Christmas morning. Oh, a fire extinguisher, thanks. But that being said, on reflection, it would be very useful. You're not going to get more useful a present. I just don't know if I would get too excited. Fire alarms have an expiry date on them. If you look at the side of the fire alarm, it will show the year it has to be replaced by. Aldi have fire extinguishers in now and again. I bought two, one for the house and one that is in the car. That's interesting. A fire alarm in the car. Right, okay. But anyway, it is not common knowledge, I think, though I did happen to know it, that fire alarms do have an expiry date. I presume it's whatever material reacts to the smoke, probably deteriorates. But anyway, good advice there. Good advice. And there's lots of. I wouldn't wait till they come on sale in. I wouldn't wait till if they come on sale in Lidl or one of those places. You know, a lot of the hardware stores, etc., have good value fire alarms that are there. And if you don't have them or if they need replaced, I wouldn't be waiting for a special buy, so to speak. And that's with no disrespect to the listener there.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Big wins deserve big moments, and we've got the perfect way to celebrate with our great selection of medals and trophies at Michael Murphy Sports, the Northwest leader in sport and training equipment for clubs and schools. Contact us today by emailing info@michaelmurphysports.ie or call 9128268.
Love great food, fashion and making a difference? Join the team that puts customers first every single day. Just search M&S Careers and start your journey today.
If you have a special occasion coming up, Watson Menswear stock a great selection of men's and boys' formal and casual wear. Top casual brands include Mishmash, French Connection, Tommy Bow and Penguin. Formal wear names include Rimozumo, Sixth Sense and White Label, with a special suit deal of a 3-piece suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for only €299. Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and at watsonmenswear.com.
There's any number of new cars out there, but do the numbers add up? With the stylish Peugeot 2008, Fastback 3008 and spacious 5008 electric and hybrid range, they really do. Enjoy a €500 Dunnes Stores gift card, a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, and for electric cars we'll add a free 3-year service plan and a home charger. Order your 261 Peugeot today at McGinley Motors, your main Peugeot dealer in County Donegal. Offer ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
Tá muchiiste don tauchaí, an scéim nua coigilte scoir lena gláró for dína go huaibriach ag techt go lua. Cuireann tusa airgid isteach, cuireann do ostóir airgid isteach, agus cuireann an stát breis airgid isteach ar a bhór. Ballach iontacha tá an chun airgid a chábháil do de tauchaí, agus tú ag tnú le leashaint as lucht a héir. Má tá tuile ólashuit, tuair cuairt ar gov.ie/auto-enrollment. Teachtareacht ó Rialtas na Héireann.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Okay, thanks to that high pressure sticking about. Dry and mostly cloudy today with isolated sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees in light to moderate east or southeast winds. Right, a final call, I suppose you could say, for people to get involved in the establishment of the Malin Glengad first responders. And Ali Farron, Councillor Ali Farron's with me in this regard. Good morning, Ali.
Yes, good morning to you, Greg. How are you?
I'm good. And there's been a bit of a theme in this hour of, I suppose, safety in the home, safety in the community. And, everywhere you turn, you will speak to someone for one reason or another who've had a first responder in their house or in their community. They're so vital, and you're looking to plug that gap in the Malin Head area. So where are we at now? There's a meeting tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, no, there's a meeting next.
Oh, is
Monday.
it next Monday?
What I'm reaching out to Highland Radio for, Greg, is that, you know, people say I didn't hear about this meeting, and I didn't, you know, not everybody's on Facebook or social media, not everybody reads the paper, and not everybody listens to Highland Radio either, to be fair. But so we're trying to cover the area as best as we can, let everybody know that next Monday night we're having a public meeting again. The idea behind this, it's not the Malin Head or it's not the Glengad, it's the Malin Parish first responder group. Because when we get it up and running, it's the same admin for a small area as it is for a big area, and it'll be the same training that'll be needed, and it'll be the same fundraising that'll be needed to get the stuff up and running. So yeah, our meeting's next Monday night in the Glengad Community Centre, and with the help of Highland Radio, I'd be very grateful if we get a mention so that people know it's on and to attend. Not everybody might want to be a first responder, but they might have an ability that they could help in some other way. It could be the administration of the scheme. It could be, you know, the fundraising. So there'll be a position for everybody who would like to come, but it's important that people come because, like, we've had fairly good attendances at the last two meetings, but we haven't been to Glengad yet, and we want to be totally inclusive for the whole parish. And we would hope that we'll get a crowd next Monday night.
And when established, and all the training and everything has been done, this would allow local trained responders to get to an emergency call to hopefully provide assistance in that important window when someone might need it until such time as the ambulance service actually arrives.
Yes, and at the moment we have 3 or 4 first responders groups in any shown as it is, but there's nowhere farther away from Letterkenny, probably in the county, than Malin and the Malin Parish. So although we have an ambulance station in Carndonagh, sometimes there mightn't be an ambulance. Sometimes there, you know, you could have to wait a while, and if we have people on the ground that can get there faster, it could save a life. It could be your life or your mother or father's life. And that's why we need people to come on board.
When do you hope to have it up and running?
Well, the first meeting will be the first admin part has to be done first, and then we have to get the responders up gathered, and then we have to get them trained. Then we probably have to coincide with that, there'll be a bit of fundraising. We'll probably do the Christmas swim this year, might be done in aid of it or something like that. And, you know, hopefully early next year would be the ideal scenario, or whenever next year. You know, at the moment we have nothing, so anything will be better than nothing.
All right, T.O. So that meeting now, as you say, it's in the Glengad area. It's in the Glengad Community Centre. It's next Monday night at 8 p.m. with an aim to establish a Malin Parish First Responders Group. And as Ali's been pointing out there, not everyone might want to be a first responder, but there are jobs for everyone who wants a job in terms of admin, etc., and so on and so forth. Right, so that's that. Before I let you go, you'll be backing your party colleague Charles Ward, won't you? He's calling for and your colleague, in the council, in relation to the opening of community centres and an orange wind warning to accommodate defective concrete block victims, if you could say. Do you think that's a worthwhile motion? It's important, is it?
Some community centres might be suitable for that, but some might not be. Like where we are at the moment, if the power goes off in Malin Head, the chances is my community centre is off as well. We don't have a generator to keep everything up and running. So while it's in certain areas it might work, and some other areas it mightn't, but it needs to be probably considered because, like during Storm Amy, my house was fairly shaky, to say the least. It wasn't the safest place in the world to be. Whereas the bulk of this community centre is built in 2012.
What's it like in the house during?
New roof.
What's it like in the house during the storm? What is it? The whistling? Is it the rattling? the windows sort of...
Well, every window, or most windows in my house, can't be opened at the moment.
Yeah.
They're twisted and warped. So, and every, surrounding all the windows and doors, or the concrete's cracked. So there's a lot of wind, there's a lot of air. And of course, in a big storm, it's more scary. But then also, you do hear gravel falling down the cavity wall of your house when so it's not something. It's the reality of living in a defective house, but it's not something that I would like to say to my wife every turnabout. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Because the last thing you want to do is create more anguish, would that be the right word, for people living in the houses. But the reality is, the houses that we're living in at the moment are not safe for a lot of people, and there will be, unfortunately, a disaster somewhere along the line. And
it's astonishing.
That's one of the good things about you. You were asking me, am I supporting Charles Ward? Of course I'm supporting Charles Ward, but there's a motion in front of the Dáil this week, and you probably know all about it. But this is about, people think in Dublin, and the reality is that this scheme is designed in Dublin. It's been managed ultimately in Dublin, and they don't have a bloody clue, if the truth be told. They think it's sorted, and if you listen to the national media now, although they had a piece on RTE during the weekend, there was a piece, I think, in the Irish Independent. Ultimately, most of the people in Dublin think, sure, we're sorted, it's good, and the reality is it's far from sorted. And the motion that Charles is putting in this week, we would hope out of that, they can't say they didn't know.
It is quite interesting how you describe it, because there is this sense that problem is resolved, yet the odd human interest story does pop up, but it doesn't seem to land with people to highlight the fact that this isn't isolated.
After that, Greg, do you see when that human interest story on RT, the senators that we would have made contact with during their election when they were looking for our support, all of a sudden they started to write emails to us again, right? Because it's about, while you done a fantastic job, and Highland Radio does a great job keeping it in the news up here, ultimately it's not hitting the big guns in Dublin, and we need to get a mention more often, so that like Catherine Connolly was up, for instance, and I'm sure she sat with Charles many a day and listened to Charles talk. It wasn't until she was walking around my house and a lot of other houses that she realised, my God,
and in fact, she referenced that in the Dáil, that as much as she was aware of it, she wasn't aware of it properly until she saw it for herself. All right, listen, Ali, thank you for that. Look after yourself. That's Councillor Ali Farron. Just to remind you, that first responders meeting for the Malin Parish next Monday at 8 p.m. in the Glengad Community Centre. All right, back with more after the news.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
At SSE Electricity, we're more than just an energy provider. We're your business energy partner. From solar panels to energy audits and more, our expert business energy advisors will tailor a solution to make your business more energy efficient and sustainable. Switch to SSE Electricity today and start building towards a net zero future. Our local customer service team are waiting to talk to you. Visit sseelectricity.com/business. SSE Electricity. This is Generation Green.
You value growing your family's healthy habits with Lidl Plus Super Savers that won't cost the earth. Ripe on time for snack time. Fun-sized bananas, 51% off, now 95 cent. And 1 kilogram of Board B approved Irish Rooster potatoes, 50% off, only 99 cent. Lidl, more to value.
Residential property owners, time is running out. You need the valuation band of your property and to submit your local property tax return by the 7th of November. The easiest way to submit your return is online through My Account, Ross or the LPT portal. For more information, visit www.revenue.ie/LPT or call 01 738 3626 if you need assistance. Submit your local property tax return today to ensure you don't miss the deadline.
Are you feeling stressed, in pain, or in need of a reset? Imagine a place where gentle healing vibrations, light and sound gently wash over you, nurturing both your body and mind, melting away tension and easing pain. This is possible at Beyond Light Therapy, designed to support deep relaxation, renewal, and your body's natural ability to heal. People report a sense of calm, improved mood, mental clarity, and renewed energy. At Beyond Light Therapy, where health begins, experience the first 60-unit energy enhancement system on the planet. Call us today to begin your journey.
It's CFC Interior's 50th anniversary, and we're marking the milestone with our biggest ever sale, the Furniture Show NI 50th edition. Get bigger discounts, more offers and giveaways across all departments. Only at CFC Interiors, Campsie, Derry, Cookstown and Abbey Centre. Hurry, the Furniture Show NI 50th edition sale is now on.
The Highland Radio Country Music Weekend is almost here at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny, Friday 31st of October and Saturday 1st of November. On Friday night, it's Patrick Feeney and his band, then myself, David James and band. Saturday night, enjoy Jordan McPollan, Stacey Breen, followed by Michael English and his band. Spaces are limited, so book yours now at clanryhotel.com or highlandradio.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. The Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council says people should keep a fire blanket and extinguisher within proximity of their large home appliances. It comes as Highland Radio presenter Anne-Marie McDevitt told Greg Hughes of her dishwasher catching fire in a matter of minutes while she was standing beside it. Councillor Paul Canning says while installing a kitchen, fireproofing should be part of the design. Councillor Canning says while it won't stop the fire, it will buy more time.
Whenever a person is paying X amount of euros for a kitchen, that they speak to the kitchen person and fireproof the area that they're putting the wash machine or the tumble dryer or the dishwasher under, because whenever you have it in a closed kitchen and you have it looking like the kitchen, it's very difficult to get into where the actual fire starts. Fireproof that square that your area is in, you know, and that'll slow it up. It'll not prevent it, but it'll slow it up till you get a hold of it.
Government opposition parties are set to unite this week when a landmark motion demanding accountability for the defective concrete block crisis is brought before the Dáil. 100% Redress Party Deputy Charles Ward says the motion on Wednesday will expose state failures, broken promises and the abandonment of thousands of families living in crumbling homes. The motion demands answers and action on oversight failure, the current redress scheme, the absence of a scheme for social homes, scientific failures and the human cost of the crisis. Deputy Ward says it's about time the government is finally held to account.
This motion is about taking the scheme and making it work. This is about the devil being the detail with the government. We're calling them out in it. We're actually going to make them accountable for once. And to show how serious this issue is, the government will now be held accountable for the first time since we were elected.
All 20 surviving Israeli hostages have now been handed over by Hamas. Israel says the first 7 left Gaza earlier before the 13 remaining were picked up by the Red Cross. The bodies of dead hostages are also due to be returned, while Israel is expected to free thousands of Palestinian prisoners. The hostage handover comes amidst Donald Trump's arrival to Tel Aviv this morning. He says he's the only man who was able to resonate with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
He's a wartime president. He did a very good job. I had some disputes with him, and they were quickly settled. I can tell you that. But as far as I'm concerned, I think he's done a great job. I think he was the right person at this time. You know, look, it's been this way for centuries. You know, we're not talking about for 10 years, for 5. It's been this way for centuries. And he did a great job. And working with me, he was fantastic.
Gardaí are understood to be aware of a weekend incident in Buncrana during which fireworks were thrown at members of the public. A father and his young daughter, as well as a woman crossing the road, narrowly escaped injury after a firework was thrown in the Main Street area at around 8 p.m. on Saturday night, while elsewhere in the town a group of around 20 people were observed throwing fireworks. A family of tourists is said to also have been left shaken as a result. Councillor Jack Murray on today's 9 till noon show confirmed that video footage of the incident has been passed on to Gardaí.
We need to have some consideration for people. This type of intimidation and extremely dangerous behaviour needs to stop. People need to have a bit of cop on and think about what they're doing. But there also be consequences for themselves. The guards have been contacted about this. There's been video footage recorded of those responsible, and the guards will be looking to get them. And as you said yourself, there's very strict laws on fireworks, and there could be a hefty penalty for anybody caught in possession of them, particularly those who use them in very dangerous manners.
A motorcyclist has been hospitalised following a crash near Dunfanaghy yesterday morning. The single vehicle collision occurred at around 11:20. Gardaí say the man in his 50s was brought to Letterkenny University Hospital as a precaution. The Taoiseach says he's well aware of significant concerns of fishing in the communities in Donegal. Simon Harris, following a recent meeting with the Seafood Ireland Alliance, says he too is concerned about the proposed cuts of 70% of the mackerel quota, as well as severe cuts to blue whiting and boarfish quotas. The Taoiseach says more voices are needed at a European level to protect the fishing industry here.
I also want to see us increase our presence in Brussels of people working full-time on the fisheries issue. I think this is a practical measure we can take. We benefit from the fishing industry. It's an industry that matters to us, and I want to stand with the fishermen in Killybegs by putting more boots on the ground in Brussels to help fight Ireland's corner.
Having a look now to weather, dry and mostly cloudy today with isolated sunny spells with highest temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees. That's all for now from the newsroom. We'll be back with headlines at 11 o'clock.
The obituary notices for this Monday morning, October the 13th. The death has occurred of Seamus McNulty, Main Street, Stranorlar, reposing at the home of his daughter and son-in-law Debbie and Ollie Reid, Carrick McGrath, Ballybuffet, today from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock and tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 o'clock. Funeral leaving from there on Wednesday morning at 10:20 via Millbrae for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate Stranorlar, interment in Stranorlar Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. The death has taken place in Scotland of Teresa Coyle, mother of Father Charles Coyle. Teresa's remains will repose at Kelly's Funeral Home, Carndonagh, from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock today, where all are welcome to pay their respects. Removal from there following prayers at 9 o'clock tonight to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, to repose overnight. Funeral Mass on Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Anne Madden, née Quinn, Loughwell, Moycullen, Galway and Fintown, Donegal, reposing at Assery Funeral Home, Moycullen, County Galway, tomorrow evening from 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock. Requiem Mass will be celebrated for Anne on arrival to the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Moycullen, at 12 noon on Wednesday. Burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. You can view the Mass live on mcn.live. Family flowers only, donations if desired, to the Irish Motor Neuron Disease Association. The death has taken place of May Brawley, née Murtaugh, 38 Glebe Gardens, Sy Mills and formerly of Erney, reposing at her home. Funeral leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass in St Teresa's Church, Sion Mills at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in St Mary's Cemetery, Melmount. No flowers please, donations in lieu if desired to Cancer Research, Kev Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time please from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock and on the morning of the funeral. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of Dr John Bantock, Bonnecrick, Clamani and formerly Coventry. His remains will repose at his home today from 11 o'clock until 8 o'clock. All are welcome to pay their respects. Funeral leaving from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to St Mary's Church, Clonmany for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family only please on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Vincent de Paul, care of any family member or Comsky funeral directors. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. And the death has occurred of Shay Quigley, 2 Churchview, Stranorlar. Remains reposing at his late residence from 12 noon today until Rosary at 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving his home tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar at 11 o'clock. Interment in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, directly to the Donegal Hospice or care of any family member. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio.
Hey, I hope the trip has gone well. Just a quick one. Does your mum have a spare key for our place? I locked myself out. Again. So if she doesn't have a key, we're down the cost of a locksmith. Or I could just live in the shed and clear back on Sunday.
Real life. Written by you, underwritten by Allianz. Feel secure with up to 4 emergency home assistance callouts each year and get 10% off new home insurance policies at allianz.ie. Allianz plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Standard acceptance criteria, policy conditions and minimum premiums apply.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We're into the second hour this Monday, the 13th of October. October flying in, isn't it? Not too long now before the Halloween holidays. A couple of weeks, isn't it? Let's get to some of your comments as we move forward here. In relation to fire damage, says this listener, I started my car at the house, I left it running and went into the house to grab my child like we so often do. Within minutes, the house started filling with smoke as the car had went on fire. Thankfully, due to the fast response of the fire service, they saved our house. Thankfully, no one was in the car as the car was completely destroyed. Just a warning to parents what can happen. Yeah. And I suppose, you know, we have in the past, haven't we, as well, maybe left the child in the car seat and ran back in to grab the child's bag or something as well. So you don't want to think what could have happened, but it's it just goes to show these things can happen. Read the presidential election. Morning, Greg. I was down in Dublin at the weekend and spent our time in Malahide, Portmarnock, Donaghmede area. The place is clattered in posters for Jim Gavin. Surely Fianna Fáil should be removing them, considering he's not in the race. Just something I noticed. But you see, he is in the race, so I wonder what's going on there. I do note too some of the signs that were up around this area have been taken down. I'm not sure if they all have, but they've been active locally in taking them down. I'm told there's a bag of rubbish lying on the road at Foxhall by New Mills Glenswilly. Motorists, please take care as it's on a bad bend. It could cause a collision. All right, be careful there. Hopefully it's been removed since, or will be very shortly. Someone texting on property tax. Greg, I paid my property tax last night. I did it as a good citizen, but I'd really love to understand why, as a homeowner on a house which I've worked hard to pay for, am I now paying the government for the luxury of owning it? It's no wonder no one in this country wants to work. It's a tricky one, the property tax, because it's not really for anything. It's not for services, you know, so you pay your rates in the north and, you know, there are services bundled with that. There's no mistaking that property tax really is used often as, you know, our funding towards major projects or what have you. We benefit more from property tax in this county than we pay because of an equalisation system. But at the end of the day, you are paying a tax on the home that you own, and it definitely is, because the more valuable your house is, the bigger the tax. People just get on with paying it, though, seemingly. You know, you would imagine it'd be much more controversial than it is. Resport. I was at an underaged game in the county at the weekend, and I was shocked to see 2 parents attacking each other over a game decision. Parents who behave like this in the presence of so many children should face an automatic life ban from any of the games. What kind of an example is this to set to children? Also, if you're an adult, something like that there, it sounds like it could be really quite intimidating. Just in relation to a story that's in the papers today, the councils around the country have probed 1,600 Airbnb-style lets suspected of planning breaches, and I just thought it interesting for you to bring the Donegal figure. But I'll give you some background to the story. Around 1,600 properties have been investigated by councils as suspected illegal short-term lets in the last 3 years. In the majority of cases, the only enforcement action taken was the issuing of a warning letter to owners. Some received enforcement notices threatening legal action if they did not comply. Since July 2019, property owners in rent pressure zones have had to secure planning permission to provide short-term or holiday letting unless they rent out their home or a second property for less than 90 days. So in Donegal, the amount of investigations into suspected illegal short-term lets, 5 in 2023, 9 in 2024, 4 in 2025. Now, obviously, it'll be interesting when the rent pressure zone is implemented across the country, what that will mean. Dublin, though, has the highest level of investigations, 302 in 23, 337 in 24 and 268 in 25. Still very low, though, compared to the amount of properties that are let in this fashion. Maybe you were approached by the council and you want to tell us off the record what it was about and what you had to do, or was there anything that came afterwards? Let us know if you want to in confidence. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and text number. I want to say a happy 80th birthday to the best papa. He's Sammy McGee, and lots of love coming in to you, Sammy, from Ella and Will, and we'll join in your birthday good wishes, if that's okay. And a sum of money was found on Saturday on one of the beaches near the pier in Rathmullen. So if you were out and about in that area, you may have noticed that you've lost money. Well, a good Samaritan has it, and they will return it to you, obviously subject to a couple of checks. It's in the White House, the White Hart Bar in Rathmullen. We have a number here as well. So a sum of money found on Saturday on one of the beaches near the pier in Rathmullen. It's in the White Hart Bar in Rathmullen, and we have a number here if it's yours and you wish to make contact with them. Right, let's take a break. Good luck if you are playing the bingo today. Here are the numbers.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, October 13th. Playing on a green sheet. Reference number is S6. It's week 42. Today's numbers are 40, 33, 41, 20, 59, 70, 68, 42, 17 and 11. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Across the supermarket aisle your eyes meet, and you just know this is the real deal. Food that makes you go, drinks that make you feel, ooh. That's the power of Love Irish food brands. Local brands, made with devotion, enjoyed with passion.
You feel the power
of Love Irish food.
You feel the power of love.
Look for Love Irish food on pack.
Can you feel it?
Carrickdon in Buncrana is turning 2. Join Sam and all the team to celebrate with a VIP event this Thursday with MC Mickey Doherty, fashion shows, fundraising and lots of fun. Doors open from 6 p.m. Enjoy 20% off full price stock plus up to 50% off special offers until Sunday. Join the team in celebrating Carrickdon Buncrana this weekend.
Hi everyone, Michael English here. Don't forget to join me and my band for my annual dancing weekend this weekend at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal Town. I'll be there Friday night with my band along with Jerry Guthrie and Stuart Moyen. Saturday night I'll be there again with my band, Jack Keogh and Kieran McAree. And Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. join me and my band for an afternoon of dancing for all the family. That's this weekend at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal Town. See you there.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
So in case you missed it over the weekend, Lidl and Aldi both announced a 10% decrease in the price of 2 litres of milk. Other chains, we understand, may now be under pressure to provide similar reductions. Milk, of course, is one of the staples, isn't it? So I think it's the first reduction in milk, certainly in Aldi, since 2023. So consumers will welcome that, but obviously every action has a reaction, and dairy farmers are raising concerns over that recent drop in milk prices in those supermarkets mentioned. Joe Sweeney's chair of the IFA in Donegal, and he's with me now. Hiya, Joe.
Hello, Greg. How you doing?
Good. So this is good news for consumers. Why might it not be good news for farmers?
Well, you're right, Greg. It is good news for consumers, and I'm a consumer myself, buy the milk. But for farmers, just maybe to put it in context, that from the mid-90s in Ireland, now we're talking about Ireland, we have two different types of farmers. We have the farmers that supply liquid milk, and we have the farmers that calve cows in springtime and supply milk as well. But it's the liquid milk farmers that we're talking about. So from the mid-90s, we had 3,500 liquid milk farmers that supply milk all year round. So that gives the fresh milk all year round. It's a higher cost operation because during the winter here we have 6 and 7 months winter, so there's a bigger cost, as you know. Out of that 3,500 we had in the mid-90s, now we're left with 1,200 in the whole country to supply that milk. So for that, there would be concerns from them farmers that if milk prices start to drop, they can't get the price they need to supply to make a profit. They're not going to be there.
Right. So do we know at this point if these supermarkets are looking to absorb this reduction, or will they expect the farmers to reduce the cost they receive for milk?
They're expecting the farmers to reduce the cost.
Wow.
The creameries have pulled the price in the last few weeks, maybe 3 cents, and there's another 3 cents going to be pulled again. So it's going to take it down now that the farmers just working at break even.
That's not a good business model.
That's where the problem lies.
That's not a good business model, breaking even.
It's not a good business model. It's good for the consumer, but my thing is, like, why milk? Why not water? Why not soft drinks? Like, milk is, you can bottle water and you can bottle soft drinks, and there's actually no food value in it. It's only just like it gives you a feel good factor.
I suppose the way you framed it, the reason why it's milk is because they can get the PR, they can get the footfall. It can be a loss leader for them, or whatever way you want to frame it. But it's farmers that pick up the tab.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's the farmers. And
like Coca-Cola's not going to take a 25-cent hit.
No, and the farmers they're just the low-lying fruit on the tree. But I think it's at the stage that it's there's going to be a backlash from it, because like what we're going to have is if we lose more of them 1,200 farmers, we're actually not going to have fresh milk all year round. And that's what happened in New Zealand. Like the farmers in New Zealand went to spring calving. It's a lower cost, but for the consumers, there's not fresh milk all the time. And that's where we're going to go. It's the same as the beef. Like we're losing 1 million cattle a year out of the EU. Beef, it's not there anymore, and the numbers are dropping. So it's just like, I don't know, if it keeps going, somewhere along the line there's going to be shortages, and this time it's going to be milk. It's going to be an all year round supply of fresh milk.
In terms of the fresh milk that we produce, is it 100% into the Irish market, or do we export milk? And also, too, is there any milk imported that we may not be aware that we're not buying Irish milk?
Well, there would be some milk probably on the island of Ireland going north. Imports, I don't think so. I'm not sure. That's a question I'm not sure, Greg.
No, that's fine, and I wouldn't expect you to know it actually. But
I know
it's an interesting one.
some of our milk goes north to some of the co-ops there, especially the lads like some Monaghan, Cavan, whatever, close to the border. But the liquid milk, we need all them producers of liquid milk to supply all year round. And like it's like this 47 cent a litre is the base price that the farmer gets for milk. They're reducing it by 10 cents to 120. I'm not sure the figures, 124 to 119 or something. But when that milk goes to the co-op, they extract the fat, and they extract the high end ingredients out of that milk. So then it's left with the milk, but there's like you have your milk powders and you have all that stuff comes out of the milk first. So like the problem I see is where's the money that's been made from the farmer till the price of the milk in the shop. Like you're going from 47 to 119, but at the same time there's a whole lot of byproducts come out of the milk first. Before they get to 115, so like there's serious money being made on it, but like it's not the farmer that's making it because he has his all year work to get that 47, and it's the consumer. They don't know, but like it's like some of them supermarkets like Super Value and that with central distribution. The only time they touch the milk in the shop is when the girl checks it out at the checkout. So like there's no cost. It's all profit for them compared to the man that's producing it or the woman.
And it kind of is difficult for the farmer too, because this kind of a move, it makes the shop look great and it kind of pitches the consumer against the farmer, because the consumer then thinks, well, farmers are making enough money anyway. Yourself, it's the farmer that gets it every which way. Like,
yeah, the farmer takes the brunt of it because it's easy to say. It's like everything in society, we blame someone else. It's good to have someone to blame, and at this time it's the farmer that's getting the blame. But it's far from it. Like he's just trying to make a living the same as everyone else. It's like you going to work today or me, and you get a pay cut at the end of the week. How long are you going to keep working? And that's the same thing. It's no difference. It's just like they have bills and they have creditors as well. So they need to get as much as they can. They have a family as well to support.
Yeah.
It's their livelihood.
I suppose with these reductions and then other derogations coming to an end and what have you, it's a real interesting time, not in a good way for Irish farming. Maybe more so in this space down the country, and with nitrate derogations going inevitably, I'm sure. Although they're being reduced or what have you, it's really squeezing. It's really squeezing the industry here, isn't it?
It's squeezing the industry. It really is. And like, okay, weather-wise, the year it was a reasonable year, but like the uncertainty in the future, and by the end of the year, them dairy farmers and derogation, they don't know if they're going to be able to hold what they have, or will they have to reduce. And if they reduce, their income's reduced, and it's at the minute it's serious. It's all regulation, like.
The problem is though all the wind is going against Irish farming. Between the beef, as you mentioned, for most people, I think sheep farming at this point is almost a hobby unless you're doing it at a huge scale. Now we have a further retraction potentially from in the dairy farmers. But when you look at the Mercosur deal and that type of stuff, there doesn't seem to be a European interest in retaining a European farming industry, not least an Irish farming industry, if you know what I mean. It seems to be, again, to use that phrase, the industry that's we can throw under the bus for the bigger deals, so we can export cars to Brazil.
I think what it was, Greg, for too long and for too many years, the farmer took the rap for everything else. So when there was money to be cut, or there was something to be cut, or whatever, it was the farmer that took it, and there was no real sort of rebellion towards what was happening. And now silently they went away, and the numbers have reduced, and they still haven't. The leaders still haven't realised in the countries that we're going to be short of food. They're not doing anything to address food security, and they're just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They keep tapping away, and eventually the food's going to be
like between the fishing industry, the farming industry. Food security is so important. Like, let's not forget, going back to the, in inverted commas, famine time. The famine wasn't due to a shortage of food; it was our access to that food. So you really do need to keep one eye on the past and one eye on the future. And you never know what might happen in this world. That we would need to be able to feed ourselves. And the ability to do that with every stroke is reducing all of the while.
Well, I'll put it like this, Greg. If there was a shortage of sort of oil tomorrow, and we couldn't get food into the shops from the imported food. There's not enough food in this country to keep us living. Because, like, you're going back, if you went back in time to they all produced vegetables, potatoes, that's all gone. So, like, all the farms now, it's sheep or grass or whatever, and even the livestock numbers aren't there. And, like, they're not producing food like vegetables or potatoes or nothing like that because there was no market for it. There wasn't enough. They weren't getting enough.
Well, I would say a lot of people not, I mean, obviously, as the specific conversation is about this milk reduction, but I'd say a lot of people learned for the first time that dramatic reduction in dairy farming, milk farming. All right, Joe, listen, thanks for your time. We'll watch on with interest. Look after yourself. Joe Sweeney, Chair of IFA Donegal. And of course, listen, we can look at it on the face of it. Anything that reduces that shopping bill is to be welcomed, isn't it? But it's going to be at the expense of farmers, and many of you are farmers that are listening today. Refarming, a listener says, my friend from Venezuela drank milk all her life. When she came to Ireland, she could not drink Irish milk because it caused her to become very sick. The doctors told her she was allergic to the stuff in Irish milk. She had to buy her milk in the Moldova shop. Can you please ask the IFA rep, what is this stuff in Irish milk? Well, it depends what she was allergic to. It could simply be stuff, doesn't need to be negative. It could be something in our milk that she's not accustomed to. Were dairy farmers allocated the surplus of recent EU funding, and how much was that? I didn't see that, but we can dig the information out on that. A caller says the IEEC number on your bottle of milk needs to be checked when buying your milk. Remember, buying the cheap milk is feeding other countries and not supporting your Irish farmer. From a position of ignorance, I am not sure where the milk I buy comes from, if you know what I mean. I didn't know, do we import much milk? It's something I'll research. If you don't have the answer, I'll research myself. I do hope you had a great weekend. There was so much happening, as we listed on Friday, of wonderful events happening around the country, around the county, more specifically for us, raising awareness and raising funds, and really, really well supported. Myself, Aisling and Hudson were at the Cars and Coffee event in Carragart, and it was packed with beautiful cars and lots of coffee, lots of tea, lots of baking as well. And as I say, really well supported in that community, and hopefully raising lots of money and awareness for Donegal Down syndrome. And I know there was events all over the place too, and I hope there were big crowds because we're really good at backing each other and supporting each other, as was evident at the weekend. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or if you prefer, give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
There's more to take home with special offers this week at Dunnes Stores, like Cadbury Time Out 6-pack and Walker's 6-pack range, now half price. And Diet Coke and Coke Zero 12-pack range, just €8 each. And 2 for €20 on select Fairy, Bold and Ariel capsules, Finish dishwasher tablets, Lenore scent boosters and Kitten Soft toilet roll. Plus, save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
It's Cabaret 25 at Harvey's Point. We start again on Wednesday, September the 3rd, and every Wednesday until November the 5th. An amazing lineup of stars, gourmet food, the warmest of welcomes, and all in the beautiful surrounds of Harvey's Point on Lough Esk, Donegal Town. Book today 074 972 2208 or harveyspoint.com. The Harvey's Point Cabaret, a night not to be missed.
It's the Donegal Creamery's Milk €500 cash splash. We're giving away €500 in cash every week. Scan the QR code on promotional packs of Donegal Creamery's Milk and you could be making a splash with €500 cash. Pick up special packs of Donegal Creamery's Milk in store to find out more. Terms and conditions apply. The €500 cash splash with Donegal Creamery's Milk.
Get the job done with the right equipment delivered direct from Watson Hire in Letterkenny. Free delivery on all equipment has been extended to the Finn Valley area, including Ballybuffet, Stranorlar, Castlefin and Killygordon. with great daily and weekend deals available. Call Watson Hire, Lisnain and Letterkenny on 9167777. See Facebook or visit watsonhire.ie.
Hey, got some old household electrical appliances or batteries lying around? Recycle them for free with We Ireland in partnership with Donegal County Council at our special collection day on Saturday 18th of October in Killybegs at the Shore Road car park from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll accept anything household with a plug or battery. See weaireland.ie.
Now, Baby Loss Awareness Week is running at the moment. It started on the 9th and runs to the 15th of October. It's a profoundly important time dedicated to remembering and commemorating babies who are much loved and deeply missed. It provides a vital opportunity for everyone impacted by baby loss to come together as a community to acknowledge their loss, share their grief and find support. And we have two guests with us. Nina Doyle is Regional Coordinator of Filicon, Stillbirth and Neonatal Death Support. Nina, thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for the invitation.
And we're also in conversation with Leanne Doohan from Buncrana, who will be telling us her situation shortly. Good morning to you, Leanne.
Good morning, Greg. Hi,
Thanks
Nina.
so much for joining us.
Thanks
Nina,
for having me.
talk to me about the importance of this week. I know I did touch on it there, but I just want to hear it from you.
I suppose, the importance of the week is about raising awareness. I think for Leanne, who's going to talk about Alice, and myself as parent to Liam and Grace, we don't need special weeks to remember our precious babies. But I suppose for the wider community, for people, this week is so important. It's about letting people know the importance of saying our babies' names, of the importance of remembering our babies, and the fact that we want them to be remembered and we want to celebrate our precious babies. So I think weeks like this really are about raising awareness and moving away from the darkness in the past, where stillbirth, there was kind of a taboo around it, and there was, and I think it's allowing people to have conversations and to, letting people know that we want to talk about our babies and giving them, the language that they can use, and, enabling people to be able to support us.
Nina, do you come across phraseology or tropes from, people, not mean-spirited or what have you, or do people who have suffered a stillbirth or even a miscarriage or a late-term miscarriage, or at any point whereby, people think they might be saying the right thing but say the wrong thing?
Of course. And I suppose a lot of the time it's people, people can say it, but I don't think they mean to hurt you. And that's why weeks like this, where we tell people it's exactly what we would like to hear. Sometimes people don't want to say your baby's name in case they upset you. And I suppose we want to let people know that we're upset anyway. And by you saying their name, you're not upsetting us. You're giving us the opportunity to talk about them. You bring them alive for us in that moment. And again, as well, there's so much fear around it. I remember when my own babies died, I'd be walking down the road and you'd see somebody coming towards you and you'd be getting ready to talk to them, and next of all, they were gone. And I knew it wasn't that people didn't care. It was that people were so afraid of saying the wrong thing. And, in many ways, one of the things I remember my husband saying at the time was, someone came up and just shook his hand and said, "I have no words." And that was all he needed. It's acknowledgement. So it's not about saying the right thing, It's
But that's
about
just being completely honest. I don't know what to say. Can you talk to us a little bit about Liam and Grace before we bring Leanne into the conversation?
Yeah, so I suppose Liam and Grace were born in 2018 and they made me a mum, and I'm just so proud to be their mum. Liam died just before he was born, so Liam was classed as a stillbirth. And then Grace came breathing into the world and lived for 31 minutes. She lay on my chest breathing. And I suppose I'm just so proud to be Liam and Grace's mum, and I love talking about them and I love sharing them. And I want them to have a legacy. I want, for two little people that never put a foot on the ground, it's so nice that I get opportunities like this to talk about them, because I want them to be remembered and I want them to be celebrated.
Yeah, of course. Leanne Doohan, as I mentioned, is with us, mum to Alice. It's almost 13 years since Alice came into your life, Leanne.
Yes, indeed. In some ways it feels like only yesterday, but remember it like it was yesterday. And like that, she made us parents, and we were as proud as any new parents in the hospital or in Ireland that day. You have the love and the grief alongside each other. It's just so bizarre. You couldn't expect it or you couldn't explain it, but you're just so proud of them, and just
because
it's a wee baby.
You lost Alice in the womb, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So I knew that she had died before she was born. And so in so many ways, I'm grateful for that, because it gave us a little bit of time to get our heads around it and make some plans for our wishes. And I know not everyone gets that opportunity, but we had just, it was I was having a great pregnancy. It was 2012, first pregnancy. Couldn't believe my luck, how well it was going. No real sickness, no real issues. And just one Sunday, we were having a bit of a lazy Sunday, and kind of by late morning, I was saying, I don't know if this baby's been moving as much. She must be having a wee rest and all that. And not really, like, I just wouldn't have been tuned in to, that this could even happen. And just thought it was having a rest. And then by afternoon, I was starting to, change position and drink a fizzy drink and try and get some movement, give it a bit of a prod. But there was nothing, and so it was a Sunday. We had nothing else on. We said, let's get it checked out. Let's go to the hospital just for reassurance, and we'll be back by evening time, and our minds will be at ease, and everything will be fine. Not really thinking that there was anything wrong. I was 27 weeks at this point, so in my mind, the danger zone had passed. Just the naivety. But we went to the hospital, and we were just, no one, and I've been back to the hospital with other pregnancies since. No one ever makes you feel like you're wasting their time or that you're being silly. They took it so seriously. And they took me in to scan, just to scan to see what was happening. And I could just see the baby on the screen. And I had previous ultrasounds where there's a wriggly baby, and I could just see her. And no one was speaking, no one was saying anything, and I said, is there a heartbeat? And the doctor said, no, madam.
That must have been so traumatic for you,
Yeah,
Leanne.
it was very just like, and then of course we made them take us to another machine and try another machine, and yeah, we came out of that hospital very, very different to the way we walked into it.
Yeah. The thing about this as well is lots of people listening will be able to relate to it in different ways at different parts of the pregnancy. It'll be but in terms of your loss, you suffered the loss of a child.
Yes.
Do you think people get that you or those around you that you lost one of your children? If you understand where I'm hoping
yeah,
phrasing that
I do,
correctly.
and again, that's where I think it sounds silly to say we're lucky, but you count your blessings. I'm so glad that we got to take her home. She was in a little coffin. We got to have her in the house for a night with us. We sat her on our bedside locker. We had a burial. We now have a grave. We have something not tangible, but we have somewhere to go, and we have her name written everywhere. The stage that she was at, it meant we got a stillbirth certificate, and since that, things have changed where we actually have a birth certificate for her. So I think, and plus we're very, we have a photo of her on our mantelpiece. We're very, it's not that we're always talking about her,
But she's ever present.
She's a part of our lives, our other children, everyone knows that's our second, third and fourth children, so, but I think, sometimes there's the silent losses as well, where people have lost earlier in pregnancy, or maybe they themselves might not even have realised they were pregnant. And I think they're the ones that go under the radar a bit, and people suffer more silently.
And I think the language can be even more accidentally horrible, if I could put it like that, like, well, you can go again, or...
Yeah, or, oh, well, you were only at this stage, or, oh, well, so... we had a fully formed little baby, we have photos, so that I think that helps with other people understanding your loss as well. But yeah, it comes at all different, stages of gestation. It comes, with Nina, like after birth, there's so much, and it's all different, but it's still the same loss, and like as you say, Nina, someone just saying to you, "I'm sorry for your loss." That just means so much. You're like, wow, you're
Validates it.
you count my baby, you know, and that's what weeks like this just bring up again, as you say. We don't need it, but other people, like, awareness is great, and sometimes people think, oh, don't scare any pregnant people or anything, but I always think, awareness isn't going to do any harm, but maybe lack of awareness could so awareness.
And I think anyone who's been pregnant and goes through the process, you get the living daylights put up you at every turnaround anyway, don't you? So
if someone asked you, do you gamble, and you said no, they say, but do you have pregnancies? Yes. Like, it's just
and language, sometimes with the best will in the world, they cover everything in some of the language. And you're like, what did you say? What did you mean by that? What does this mean? Is it? Nina, I also think there's a cohort of people out as well that these kind of weeks are very important for, is that even in a relationship or within a family, you might have different attitudes to what a loss is, be it a stillbirth or a miscarriage at different terms. You know what I mean? That you could have maybe even the mum and dad viewing it different ways, and that means the person who maybe feels it on the level that we're talking about now might feel they have to blunt how they feel. Does that make sense, Nina? And I think this is a good week for maybe those people to sort of step out and make themselves feel better in some form or other.
Absolutely. And I think it's about respecting people where they're at, and I think it's about honouring where people are at. But at the same time, I think there's such a shift at the moment. I mean, within Féileacán, I'm talking to bereaved parents all the time, and sometimes there's this expectations that it doesn't affect the man as much, or that the dad isn't as affected. And actually what we see in Féileacán is quite the opposite. It's just that there's an expectation sometimes on the dad to be strong or to be seen as supporting his partner. And again, in Féileacán, where often we see is that after an amount of time, that then the dad would naturally have that would start feeling the loss. And sometimes it could be just as the mum is starting to get that little bit stronger. So you might find that there's a little bit of a yo-yo within a relationship, and you're able to support each other at different times. But again, within Féileacán, there's supports for dads. There's a Féileacán football team now. So we were finding the dads weren't coming along to the meetings, but we set up a football team where they could come along, kick a ball around, and everyone there has had the sad loss of a baby. So you might not want to say their name, or you might not want to talk, but at least you're with people who understand, who get it. And there's something about being around somebody who gets it. But I think there's a little bit of a shift, there's a little bit of a change, and people are recognising that the dads are just equally as important as the mums.
So on Wednesday, the 15th of October in Ireland, 124 buildings will light up between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m, showing colours of blue and pink. In Donegal, there are 7 buildings that we know of to light up, including Letterkenny University Hospital and a number of public services buildings. And maybe people have their own lights they can maybe something in the windowsill might just make a big difference to a neighbour who sees it on the way past, or something, Leanne.
Yeah, and you see it, people share it on social media as well. And I always think it's lovely when I see support from people who haven't lost a baby. You know that they're supporting us. So that I see that growing every year. More and more people say, oh, I must light the candle at 7 p.m. on Wednesday evening, and that just, you don't even have to say anything. That just shows that people support you, which is lovely.
Féileacán.ie is the website, isn't it? What kind of supports are there?
Whatever you need, to be honest. We have our support line, which is 085 249 6464. And again, you're talking to a bereaved parent. So when you pick up the phone, you're talking to somebody who's just going to get it. That will meet you where you are. That will be honoured and delighted to hear about your precious baby. We have a number of support meetings. They're both online and in person. We have remembrance services. I've already touched on the dads, but I'd also like to say we have support for the long ago bereaved. And I'm so conscious of, and Leanne touched on it there, about being lucky, which sounds a little bit strange as a bereaved parent. But I think myself and Leanne would both feel that we're lucky that she's able to talk about Alice. I'm able to talk about Liam and Grace. But for the long ago bereaved, it's it's never too late if you want to say their name.
Do you know,
And
I
Féile
think,
Con-
I'm thinking about if this was my mum's situation, going back some bit, and I've lost my mum since, I can imagine her having a little book somewhere, or a little drawer, or something that she might go and visit when she needs to. And I'm not sure in our family, which was there's nothing, I think, strange about this, where it would have sort of, we would have had pictures on the mantelpiece or something. I don't know. Do you know, I think every family is different, but I can imagine there are mums out there and dads as well who, that they can relate to this conversation, but they have a memory box or something.
Yeah, they might have kept whatever small bits they had from the hospital, whether it be a wristband, or if they didn't have that, they might have kept, something that just marked that time. And yeah, it is so important.
Okay.
It's part of the healing. You need that for the healing as well.
What do you say? Well, we heard from someone who up to Nina, all you have to say is "I've no words," and that, rather than crossing the street with the best will in the world, sometimes that's enough. I think these are amazing. Honestly, I hope that's not patronising. That you're able to. That's just. I just think these are amazing, to be honest with you. And so it feels like brave. I don't know what the right way to describe it is. I hope I could be as brave as you are, and to honour your children, like you did today. So if you can light something safely, light a candle. You can get battery operated candles now, and maybe you've got the outside lights or whatever it might be. Just remember, on Wednesday you can join, and maybe, as I say, it might be the little indication that you understand from a neighbour that might be important to them. It's between 7 and 8 p.m, showing the colours of blue and pink. And as we heard also from Leanne now, we all have social media, don't we? And a little post along those lines would help as well. So just to recap, Nina, Féile Con, which is butterfly, isn't it?
Yes, the Irish
Féile Con, féilecon.ie. So that's FEILEACAIN.ie, and there's a support line as well. We'll link both on our socials as well. But for now, Nina Doyle, mum to twins Liam and Grace, would be, that's 2018. Okay, so they would be, or they are, I don't know how you phrase it, 7.5 now. Okay, and would be almost 13. Alice, who's Leanne,
almost a teenager,
Doohan's firstborn. All right, ladies, listen, thank you so very much.
Greg. Thanks so much.
Helping getting the word out there. All right, take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Leanne. Look after yourself, and best wishes to all. And as I say, conversations like that, of course, too, can be very rewarding if you can relate, and maybe you feel that you can sort of do something that helps your situation, or they can be very difficult as well. I understand that, because everyone with loss and bereavement can be at different places. But if you want to speak to other people that exactly understand what you're going through, féilecon.ie, their support line is 085 249 6464. Like, amazing strength in being able to, and it's amazing, it's great that they're able to speak so lovingly and openly about their babies.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
At iMotors, the road to 261 starts on the 16th of October. Join us for our open weekend, where we'll showcase the full Kia and Nissan lineup for 2026. On Saturday the 18th, grab a free DL burger on us. Any customer who pre-orders before the 23rd of December enters a chance to win €10,000. Exclusive at iMotors. Swing by our open weekend and drive into the new year in style.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Discover Centra Simple Savers, your go-to for great everyday value, like Centra Fresh Irish Whole Chicken 1.8 kilos, €6. Selected Coke, Sprite, Fanta 4-can packs, $3.25 each plus deposit. And Kronenberg 1664 12-bottle pack, $15.62. Enjoy great prices on all your favourites. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Autumn is alive with a kaleidoscope of colour, nature and adventure at National Trust NI. Unwind and relax with a crunchy leaf walk through Llewellyn Garden. Sample the finest seasonal food at Florence Court's Harvest Fair. Gaze into the majestic mirror-like lake at Mount Stewart. And breathe in the beautiful garden at Castle Ward. Or delight with frightful fun on one of our trails this Halloween half-term. Come along and make wonderful memories this autumn. Search National Trust NI today.
Hello, it's Joe Duffy here. I've been fortunate through my work with the National Lottery to meet some extraordinary good causes, from boxing clubs, wildlife conservation to community cafes. Did you know National Lottery players raise over €4.5 million every week for good causes all over Ireland? And that's all thanks to you, the players. You made this possible. Support responsibly. Average figures based on 2024 financials.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Dry and mostly cloudy today with isolated sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 13 to 15 degrees in light to moderate east or southeast winds. Mostly dry and cloudy tonight, with just a few spots of drizzle possible, most likely the further east you go in the region. There is also a chance of some mist and fog patches forming in any clear spells. Temperatures of 7 to 11 degrees. So the working week this week's going to be, in inverted commas, the working week is going to be similar. So just to recap on that last conversation, and the ladies we were speaking to there, Baby Loss Awareness Week runs to the 15th, and on the 15th, that's Wednesday, it marks International Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day, and that's when you can make the little post on your social media or put a little something in the window of your house or what have you. A caller says, I'm very touched with your work. I had a baby born sleeping in 1964 and we weren't allowed to talk about it. Well done, ladies. I'm proud of your great work. I think that's your situation, and I'm so sorry you went through that, and I'm very happy that you've honoured us by remembering your baby with us. That was perhaps what may have happened in the past, that you were to suck it up and move on and pray and get over it or something along those lines. And I'm not saying it was done with any malice, but it just was the way things seemed to have been in some houses. A caller says, when I had an early miscarriage quite a number of years ago, I baptised, waked and buried my baby by myself. It's nice to have this week in memory of these babies who died prematurely. Thank you, Fela Khan, for showing the love and value of all of our babies' lives. And listen, remember your babies with us as well too, if you want. More than happy to accommodate that in this week or at any time whatsoever. And I'm sorry that you had to do that yourself. That's heartbreaking, is the only way I can describe it. Or maybe it's, in your situation, it's wonderful. I don't want to presume what that must have been like for you. Okay, we've been talking about domestic appliances going on fire. It happens more often than you'd imagine, you know. Bridget says, my washing machine almost went on fire 2 months ago. Most scariest 5 minutes of my life. It was 2 weeks after it was apparently fixed. Where can you buy a fire extinguisher? I had one, but the warranty on them is only about 2 years. There's lots of local suppliers, I can imagine. But listen, where would you get a domestic fire extinguisher? I'm going to go and get one myself, and a fire blanket as well for our house. So where would you get one? Where's the right place to get one? You know, the hardware stores are going to have them, aren't they? But also check they're in date, and check, maybe today we can all check our fire alarms to make sure that they haven't expired either, because the reason they expire is how effective they are at detecting smoke. So there's no point thinking we're protected when we're not. So apparently it's written on the fire alarms. Let's get our fire alarms checked. And maybe I never really thought of having a fire extinguisher in the house, and now I'm certainly thinking along those lines. Yvonne says, my friend's washing machine went on fire. It was a few months old. Only she came up from the yard for a cuppa. I dread to think what would have happened. I switch off all appliances before leaving the house. Yeah, but whilst you're doing that, and that's excellent, Yvonne, some of us then are putting the washing machine, dishwasher or dryer on at night. You know, when you see some ads sort of saying that that's when the cheapest electricity is, and it's very concerning. I'm in my 50s and so scared of fireworks and bangers being thrown and not knowing where they're going to land. Have respect, says a listener. Yeah, indeed. You know, and I do sometimes think that people don't realise how this can affect people or pets. You know, bangers going off, dogs running off, and all the stress that can cause. The caller also says, I live in a council house. We've got smoke and heat and carbon monoxide alarms, but the council should apply or supply fire blankets and fire extinguishers too, I personally think. It's an interesting one because we heard from Paul Canning, and I didn't think to ask this question, about how tenants, if you were to rent your house privately, right, that the fire regs would kick in there. So you'd imagine if you're in a council house, does the council have a responsibility, or should they have a responsibility to ensure firstly, that all the alarms are working, but also that there are fire extinguishers and blankets available in what I suppose are effectively their properties?
It's the Right Price Tiles wood flooring and bathware 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles, wood flooring and bathware. Stores nationwide. Sale extended until Sunday.
Ireland's move to a cleaner energy future is happening right beneath your feet. With a gas network that's carrying more renewable gas, that will help your business become more sustainable in a way that works for you. Gas Networks Ireland, moving Ireland's energy.
Welcome to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms in Donegal Town. Discover affordable luxury with our bespoke fitted furniture solutions. With almost 30 years of serving Ireland and the Northwest, we're your trusted experts. Visit us Monday to Friday 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. Book your free consultation today on 074 9725822 or visit cherrymore.ie. Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, where affordability and luxury combine.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold! And ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
If you are a victim or survivor of sexual violence, you do not need to suffer on your own. Help is available to you. We spoke to Niamh from the communications team in Coon about supports available to all victims of sexual violence.
We want all victims and survivors of sexual violence to know that support is always here for them. You don't need to deal with this on your own, regardless of when it happened.
If you are looking for help and support in relation to sexual violence, contact your local Sexual Violence Support Centre on 1800 448 844.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127. With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it's 11 o'clock, time for a news update. And we say good morning once again to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Government opposition parties are set to unite this week when a landmark motion demanding accountability for the defective concrete block crisis is brought before the Dáil. 100% Redress Deputy Charles Ward says the motion on Wednesday will expose state failures, broken promises and the abandonment of thousands of families living in crumbling homes. Donald Trump's due to address the Israeli parliament after all 20 hostage survivors were returned by Hamas. The Red Cross assisted with the transfer, collecting captive Israelis at a meeting point before taking them to southern Israel, where they're receiving medical attention. It's part of the first phase of the US-backed deal, which will also see the return of hostages, bodies and the release of Palestinian prisoners. A motorcyclist has been hospitalised following a crash near Dunfanaghy yesterday morning. The single vehicle collision occurred at around 11:20 a.m. Gardaí say the man in his 50s was brought to Letterkenny University Hospital as a precaution. Former Labour leader Alan Kelly says he'll be voting for Heather Humphreys in the presidential election. He says he has major concerns about Catherine Connolly and won't be voting with his party, which has chosen to back the independent candidate. Deputy Kelly says Catherine Connolly has not shown she is legitimately a pro-European candidate. The Taoiseach says he is well aware of the significant concerns of fishing communities in Donegal. Simon Harris, following a recent meeting with the Seafood Ireland Alliance, says he too is concerned about proposed cuts of 70% to the mackerel quota, as well as severe cuts to blue whiting and boarfish quotas. Gardaí are understood to be aware of a weekend incident in Buncrana during which fireworks were thrown at members of the public. A father and his young daughter, as well as a woman crossing the road, narrowly escaped injury after a firework was fired in the Main Street area at around 8 p.m. on Saturday, while elsewhere in the town a group of around 20 people were observed throwing fireworks. The Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council is urging people to ensure they have a fire blanket and extinguisher within close proximity to large home appliances. It's after Highland Radio presenter Anne-Marie McDevitt's dishwasher caught fire within a matter of minutes in recent days. Councillor Paul Canning believes fireproofing should be part of kitchen design. And a number of public buildings in Donegal will light up pink and blue this week to mark Baby Loss Awareness Week 2025. On Wednesday, Letterkenny University Hospital and Public Services buildings will be illuminated. Felicon Wave of Light is a global event where people light a candle to remember babies lost during pregnancy or after birth. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Thanks, Michaela.
We all push things out, but some things are too important to leave until tomorrow. Like your pension. At Irish Life, we make it easy to start today. Try our pension calculator at irishlife.ie. Or if you're ready to start or top up your pension now, talk to your financial broker or advisor. A better life with Irish Life. Irish Life Financial Services Limited, trading as Irish Life, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Irish Life Financial Services is an insurance intermediary tied to Irish Life Assurance for life and pensions.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and it's time to talk GAA with presenter of the DL debate, Brendan Devaney. Brendan, how are you getting on? Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Good to see you.
Good to have you with us. And what a weekend it was. Niamh Conaill, the new champions, the Donegal Senior Football Champions. The final scoreline 218 to 119, obviously, as it never does, doesn't tell the full story of the game.
Yeah, listen, Greg, it was a brilliant day at the park. You know, it was Gweedore and Niamh Conaill in the two games, and the Senior B as well. Went the extra time. It was a brilliant curtain raiser in terms of setting the scene for the final. It was a half an hour put back then in terms of fitting everything in, because you've got the Ardra, which was the 25-year champions. And listen, it was a glorious day at the park at this time of year, particularly after last week's washout in the intermediate. So yeah, listen, the best two teams in the county playing, Greg, for sure. You know, coming in in different kind of form. You know, Niamh Conaill maybe hadn't played their best football all season, but they've won when they needed to, and they've played really well late on in games. And I wouldn't even say come back from the dead, but they certainly looked like they were going out against Termon. They were 3 points down in added time, in extra time against Four Masters, but they kept digging out results. And this game went something similar a pattern. Now, I didn't expect how quickly they came back at Gweedore. They were 7 points down at half time. Gweedore were pretty much good value for that lead, but you knew that they were going to come after Gweedore. But the way that they did in that second half, Greg, was unbelievable. And from that second half period into the first period of extra time, they completely annihilated Gweedore in kickouts and in scoring. I was making notes here about the amount it was 2-9 to 3 points in that period, Greg, of the half and the first period of extra time. So for a game to be, people couldn't decide who was going to come out on top. For it to swing so much in scoring, you know, was something that we hadn't really predicted. But I think all in all, maybe Gweedore, you would say in normal time, had a few opportunities to maybe seal the game, to go 3 up again. They didn't take them, and you just felt like there was going to be a moment of magic coming, you know, when it came from Max Campbell, came from Shane Malone. A brilliant 2-pointer to level up the tie.
Some pressure on that kick, wasn't there? When you know.
Listen, it was outside the boot, it just curled inside the post, Greg. But you know the way in a game like that, when a team misses a couple of easy chances and the Gweedore lads know that they should have went to 3 up and then it had to be a goal, the fact that they left a 2 point sitting, you just thought, here it comes. And in fairness to Shane Malone, it was a brilliant strike. And then kickouts was the big thing. Like, in that period, I was saying, where Niamh Conaill scored Gweedore 2-9 to 3, they absolutely destroyed them on kickouts. Obviously, the majority Gadore's own kickouts. There was a few of their own as well, but I think in about 16 kickouts, Gadore might have won 3 of them. So you look at that, it was amazing that Gadore hung in the game, and yet even though in added time, when Niamh Connell went so far ahead, Gadore still managed to pull back a couple of brilliant 2-pointers from Ethan Harkin, and then there was that late opportunity to actually tie the game for Gadore.
Just out of range, and that was just the way it was.
Both teams showed a lot of guts, Greg.
Yeah.
Whenever Niamh Connell took over in that match, you were thinking really, at 2-16 they won 13 in the first period of added time. It was game over. It was 6 points. Niamh Connell were totally on top. So the fact that Gadore dug deep and pulled back in, you'd have to say fair play to them. Came within a kick of the ball the game. So as I say, definitely the best 2 teams in the county. It was a brilliant match. Great to see, and the new rules helping a lot.
Yeah, and listening to some of the commentary after the match, you kind of got the feeling at least some within the Niamh Connell squad thought the team had been overlooked, that, all the conversation was about, a few other teams. And I wondered, did they use that sort of as an inspiration to go out and do the business?
Yeah, I suppose they had lost a couple of games in the lead up to it in the group, you see, Greg. So the fact that Termon were so far ahead of them in the closing stretch, a lot of people were saying they were hanging in there. But I just thought they were very dangerous coming into it, because if they hadn't played their best and they were still in the final, the fact that they had so much experience in finals, they've been in the majority of finals this last 10 years, they'd be thereabouts. I think there might have been 7 or 8 of them. So there was a lot of experience in there, even missing a couple of the players. Kieran Thompson obviously was a big loss from going into the game, but you just knew, particularly with some of the new breed they had in there, and you'd have to say, obviously, Finbar Roti, man of the match, Shane Malone and Max Campbell in particular added a lot, and big Kevin Gallagher playing at midfield has been superb. So there's been right across the board, there's been some brilliant performances from them. This one could come down to a kick of a ball again, but Niamh Connell, as they've needed to do throughout this season, it's them that's come out the right side.
Yeah, and it's right too. You get a competition like this, and you get to the last 2. It's the percentages, isn't it? That are the big, just those small percentages. And as you mentioned right at the top 2, it's the double 2. Niamh Connell beaten Guidor in the Senior B Championship final. So a lot of celebration in Glentees and surrounds, no doubt about that. What are you doing with the show tonight?
Yeah, heading down there. We're heading to the Thatch Bar. We're going to broadcast. Listen, we said last week that we would head to whoever won the final to do a bit of live show and to get a bit of reaction. And John Gilday's coming down with me. Brendan Kilcoyne's coming as well. And we're going to, pull in a few, I suppose, club officials and a few past players and a few players that played yesterday, providing they're in good shape and their voice is still there. I was having the crack. I was giving the crack with John O'Malley. He says, because we interviewed Brendan McDyer, and his voice was going already, and that was just after the match. So listen, we'll see who's in good shape down there, Greg, and we'll have a bit of crack with Niamh Connell. But listen, it's thoroughly deserved, and they'll be a good Donegal representative going into Ulster.
And the joy, no matter what people go on to achieve, for some in that squad, this will just be the best day of their lives. And the heartbreak for the Guidor lads as well. Sport's wonderful and it's cruel, and it's all of that, isn't it? Just the joy and the devastation.
The heart, I suppose, Guidor. I mean, 2 years ago, 2023 final, Guidor again. It was Ronan McNeely's first year there, and they were well beaten by Niamh Connell. So you'd have to say in the 2 years previous that Niamh Connell are still always going to be strong. They're the team to beat in the minute at Donegal. So the fact that Guidor have bridged that gap so considerably, you'd have to say, when the dust settles, it was a huge effort. I mean, they were beaten the semi-final last year. That came down to a kick of the ball with St. Junans. So they've certainly bridged the gap. But yet and all, that bit of experience seemed to be telling on the day that Niamh Connell just seemed to be very comfortable in their own skin in tight games. And Greg, as I say, come out the right side. That was their 8th title.
Yeah, and everything adds to the spectacle. The park looked in great shape.
Yeah, listen, fantastic, Greg, obviously, yeah. And the junior final the day before, Karen Donner were beaten in last year's final, came through and bet Letterkenny Gaels, so a big victory for him. They had a 1-2 because they were playing in the junior B as well, so Karen Donner won in that. So a good day for Karen Donner. They beat St. Mary's Convoy, and the senior C championship went to McCool's. They beat St. Junans, so yeah, all the honours been handed out now. Greg, a lot of celebrating to be done. So yeah, we're gonna join in a bit. I don't know if I'll be celebrating tonight though. So I'll go down and we'll have the crack in it.
Well, you didn't book the show into a community centre either, did you?
No, we didn't. No, that Oisin did that. There must be a weekend of VIP area in it. Maybe it'll be cordoned off. It might be busy. So hopefully people aren't up on the top of chairs, Greg. It might be hard.
Well, I don't know. It might make for good radio. It's in the Thatched Bar, right? And it's not closed. It's open. The show's live from the Thatched Bar in beautiful Glentees from just after the 7 o'clock news. Brendan's going to be there, of course. Brendan Kilcoyne. And a whole host of other guests, and there'll be a great turnout. I'm sure the people of Glentees and the people of Niamh Conaill will be keen to get in there and have their say as well. All right, and that's it, of course, a run through whatever else has happened over the weekend. As you mentioned, we didn't get to all of the games, but there was plenty of action, plenty of joy, plenty of heartbreak, and great spectacle. I thought yesterday's game was great.
Yeah, that's good. Exactly. You know, it was great to have the cameras there as well. I actually liked from the point of view of the cameras being stationed over the far side across the stand, because sometimes you see, you know, when you're broadcasting out from Donegal, if the cameras on this side were often be safe for the streaming, you don't really maybe see the support as well. So it was nice. It was coming across, and there's a really good atmosphere, I think, in O'Donnell Park, like, because of its kind of tighter nature. You know, I was just chatting to Carol Keane there. He was on about the games up on Owenbeg and Derry, and it's too laid out. It's too the stand and the way the terracing is. It's just too far from the team. But you seem to get, particularly with that stand in O'Donnell Park, there's a real brilliant atmosphere. It was a great day, and as I say, good luck to the winners.
All right, well done. Thanks so much, Brendan Devaney, presenter of Highland Radio's DL Debate. That's live just after 7 o'clock. If you're in the Glentees area, why not call into the Thatched Pub or the Thatched Bar? It's just on the corner there, isn't it? From 7 p.m. onwards, just after the news. In fact, great weekend for Niamh Conaill, Karen Dunnett, and all the other teams that had success over the weekend, and then heartbreak for those who put so much in. You put so much in, and it's all you want, and there has to be winners and there has to be losers, and that's just the way it is. Greg, I'd be interested to hear from my local minister, Charlie McConalogue, who supported Jim Gavin for office of president. Who is he now recommending we, his community people, support? Is he supporting Heather Humphreys? Anyone, I can't speak for Charlie McConalogue, or even, I don't know if he's on the record saying this, but I mean, at the end of the day too, there does seem to be a lot of people within Fianna Fáil that are saying that they're not advising other people to back Heather Humphreys, but they themselves are. Greg, do you remember in the late 80s or early 90s, the ad on TV for fire safety was thumbs up on Monday, telling you to put your thumb up and test your fire alarm? I always remembered it. Don't remember it, to be honest with you, but there was a whole host of really quite innovative ads at that time. Get out, stay out, get the fire brigade out, and all these types of things. The council gave us a fire blanket, says a listener. The council supplied a fire blanket to our estate in Stranraer. So whilst there might not be fire extinguishers, the council, certainly to some of their tenants, have issued fire blankets, which is good to have. And maybe get onto them if you haven't received yours, because there must be a policy there. Re baby loss. Beautiful interview with the two ladies. I'll become a granny for the first time in a few weeks, but I'll be lighting a candle on Wednesday night for our wee grandchild, who would have been born this month also. I lost a baby in 1980. Did not get to see the baby. It was so cruel back then. Thank God things have changed. Yeah, and I'm so sorry that you went through that. 1980 is a long time ago, but I'm sure those memories and that pain feel still very fresh and real for you. So we're thinking on you as well. And to the other lady lighting a candle on Wednesday. Yep, we're going to do that too. Exactly. Everything's based on export and imports, as this is where the real money is. If people purchased milk and vegetables, etc. from local farmers, then this would impact the importers and exporters' massive profits, but would have a positive impact on the environment. Yeah, the more stuff you can buy that's produced here, obviously, if you're interested in the environment, the better. Another caller says, we are the only species that drink milk as adults. In Venezuela, they have fermented milk, which kills off the lactose. This lady was obviously allergic to lactose, and thank you for that. I suspected it was that, but I didn't know. Do you know what I mean? So I appreciate that. We're the only species that drink milk as adults, but we're humans. really, and we can treat it and what have you. Okay, and I presume animals would get the stuff that they need from different the different sources. Another caller says, hard to believe that a party like Sinn Féin, who was so opposed to banks and bailouts, are now out seeking votes for a woman who assisted the banks evict mortgage holders while her husband was part of the Nama regime. The problem is and the Law Society of Ireland were out on this. You know, you can't pick and choose who you represent legally. You know, I mean, I suppose you could say, right, I'm packing in the industry, but there is sort of ethical guidelines there. Back to electrical fires. We had the very same thing with the 7-year-old washing machine a month ago. The power tripped. I turned the machine back on and the machine worked away. I stood for a minute watching it, and sure enough, flames came out underneath. Please never, ever leave an appliance on when not in the house. It's not worth it. Actual flames coming from underneath. And you know, the scenarios, there could have been another basket with dry clothes sitting there in front of it as well. A newspaper headline. Greg, you read a headline this morning, the first Catholic chaplaincy opens at Magee College. I went there in the 60s and it was called something different then, but there was a chaplain there, so I don't understand the headline. Maybe he was just a visiting chaplain. I don't understand any of it, and that's my ignorance, by the way, so I don't know what to say there. That was I just read the headline. I didn't read the whole article, to be completely honest with you. A caller says property tax is effectively water rates, and now they're going to increase this tax and once again get the ball rolling. Who knows where it will end? Yeah, I think lots of people have received letters, if not everyone have received letters saying that your properties need re-evaluation. Why can't we have new ballot papers leaving Jim Gavin's name off them? All the posters should be taken down as well. I know a lot of people who will be voting for Jim Gavin in order to call a new election. How is this fair? And all the money wasted. Once the nominations have been locked in, they can't be unlocked. And the powers that be did look at ways in which the ballot papers could be issued without his name. It's not possible. He's on the ballot paper. As I say, and I only drive certain routes. Most of the Jim Gavin posters I had seen in the past are gone now. But obviously there are still some up somewhere, or else that listener wouldn't have texted in what they did.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Attention students, TFI Local Link bus services, available nationwide, can connect you to a wide range of colleges all year round. Save up to 50% on cash fares when you use your TFI Young Adult or Student Leap card. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you.
Consider tantalising, tasty turkey meatballs. Oof, Aldi, you're teasing us. Come on, cooked in the tray. Just pop it in the oven. Handy. Or what about beef teriyaki? That sizzle. And then there's succulent salmon with garlic and herby butter. Lovely. The only thing that could make that better is chips. Great value, tasty and handy too. Now you're cooking. Aldi Ready to Cook range. Prepped by us, cooked by you.
Southwest Donegal Blackface Sheep Breeders Group annual ram show and sale will take place on Friday 17th of October at Broca Clohan Cooperative Mart. Show starts at 5 p.m, followed by sale at 7 p.m. The sale can be viewed on Marteye.
Monster Bingo every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel. €3,300 must go with €1,000 on the last page. Doors open 7:30. Bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo this and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
It's CFC Interior's 50th anniversary, and we're marking the milestone with our biggest ever sale, the Furniture Show NI 50th edition. Get bigger discounts, more offers and giveaways across all departments. Only at CFC Interiors, Campsie, Derry, Cookstown and Abbey Centre. Hurry, the Furniture Show NI 50th edition sale is now on. Bingo every Monday night at the Halfway House Bingo, Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with ice down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. Snowball is now 1,650 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's the Halfway House Bingo, Burnfoot, tonight at 8:30.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor an go letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobal a guachtu, era a guachtu. Heshe.
It's 21 minutes past 11. Welcome back to the programme. Right, a number of guests here now to discuss our next issue, and that is the deer population, although we don't really know what that is, but also what efforts are underway to tackle it. So I'll go to Michael Keegan first, who is the FRS Co-op Deer Management Programme Manager. Good morning to you, Michael.
Morning.
Right, okay. So what
Hello?
is...
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly, yeah.
Right, okay. So what is being established to, I suppose, look at the deer population?
Well, basically, look, the deer management tender was awarded to FRS there at the start of the year. Look, it's the first effort in the country that there ever has been of a national deer management strategy being put in place. Our role here is to bring structure to what is, up to this point has been pretty structureless. So we'll be starting there by engaging with the people that have identified themselves as having a problem with deer, and working with them and trying to form deer management groups across the country in the various different areas that are kind of hotspot areas.
Is there going to be any effort to sort of get a sense of the actual deer population? I wonder how we can effectively manage it if we're not really sure how many deer there are, unless we've since learned since I last looked into this.
Well, look, I mean, on the question of deer, counting deer as such, look, counting deer is quite expensive, very expensive, very time consuming, and not very precise. So, we haven't got a number for how many deer there are in the country. Nobody has. And this has been done in the UK for quite a long time, as in 30, 40 years, where they are working with, on a structured deer management. They don't count deer over there.
Okay.
There are, they do pick sample areas sometimes and do counts, but as a rule, they don't count them for all the reasons that I've just described.
Yeah. So how do we...
what they're focusing on is impact.
Okay. And how do we judge that? But how do we know we're not over-culling or under-culling?
Well, again, if you come back to the impacts, the impacts will tell you the picture. So if you can monitor the impacts, you can see, well, look, are we getting natural regeneration in our forests or are we not? Are the trees being destroyed at a rate faster than they're rejuvenating? So that's where the impacts comes into it.
And
you can monitor impacts pretty easily, and you can see that there's there's a greater impact in an area or less of an impact. And, you can decide, well, we need to focus our efforts more on this area or less.
And what demographic of deer do you target to best control the population?
Really, you need to be shooting hinds and calves to control the population effectively. Shooting stags has very small effect on deer population overall. Like one stag will put a hell of a lot of females in calf, whereas you shoot that animal, there's always going to be another stag to pick up the slack to put those animals back in calf again. So shooting hinds and calves is really where you need to be focusing your efforts if you want to control the population effectively.
How long will it take to get workable data in terms of the impact in specific areas, and then how soon after that would the targeted culling begin? Well,
it's ongoing. So, data collection will be an ongoing thing, and the targeting, the culling is ongoing. I mean, they're culling away at the moment.
Yeah, of course. I'm on about in a more coordinated way to ensure it's not just stags that are being taken, or when will data-driven culling begin? Well, we're as I say, we're actively doing that at the moment. Okay. So we have people that have contacted us that have said they've got a problem, where our coordinators have gone out and met them. We've looked at the impact on the ground. We've looked at the deer numbers as best we can on the ground, and we're trying to focus those people on in where we have those groups set up, deer management groups set up, that we're trying to focus those guys to work better with their hunters, to be more engaged with their hunters, and let the hunters know what they want removed, try and get accurate feedback from hunters as to what has been removed, more accurate feedback than what we've had in the past. So it's an ongoing process, and you have to remember too,
we've only had a full team on the ground for the last 8 weeks. So this is very, very, very much in its infancy.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly why I asked that last question, to try and determine when it won't be in its infancy.
Yeah, it's very much in its infancy. And like, just to put a bit of perspective on this, as I said to you there earlier, they've had structured deer management in the UK for 40 years, and there's still areas over there where they are struggling to keep the population under control, because like most of these guys that are out there hunting, they all have full-time jobs, they've got a family, they've other commitments, and you take a fellow with a full-time job, really the only time he can shoot, unless he's on a Section 42, is on the weekends, because by the time he gets to work in the morning and comes home in the evening, it's dark when he's leaving and dark when he's coming home, so he's really restricted then to just weekend only. So like it is tricky, like to get an increase in numbers being culled when you have that.
Just before I bring in our next guest, the last figures I saw, it was something around 79,000 deers were culled.
69.
Sorry, I was up until February 23. I thought it was 78,000 in the year up until February 23. Maybe I'm open to correction on that, but anyway. How many?
Well, this year's figures are 69,000.
So there was a reduction. So the most recent figures then are 69,000. Where does that figure need to be?
Well, I couldn't say that there was a reduction now, because I haven't seen the previous one. So we're both. Data
released by the National Parks and Wildlife Service to the Irish Deer Commission shows 78,175 wild deer were culled in the 12-month period up to February 28th, 2023. So that's that figure.
Yeah. Look, as I say, I haven't looked at the Department of Agriculture or the National Parks and Wildlife website. That would be where I'd be taking my information from, not from some other organisation.
Okay, but if you're the deer management program manager, and I don't mean this in any way ignorant, is that not information you'd need to know as the manager of that program? Yeah,
well, I have the most recent up-to-date ones.
Okay,
that's what I just said to you. I have the most recent up-to-date ones, which is, and that is from the Department from the National Parks and Wildlife Service.
Okay, understood.
So what you've quoted there is a figure from somebody, from a third party, not from the National Parks and Wildlife.
From the National Parks and Wildlife Service. Okay, stay where you are, Mike, if you don't mind. Thanks for the clarification. Councillor Jimmy Brogan has been listening with interest, and he's also a member of the Donegal County Council Agriculture Committee. I presume you welcome this. Would you call it a new approach? I presume you would, Jimmy.
Yeah, of course. We welcome the deer management programme. It's something that's long overdue, I think. The deer have been an issue now. Deer have only been an issue for a short time in Donegal. I live here in Mount Charles, and I've probably never seen a wild red deer until maybe 10 or 15 years ago. And I thought it was great at the start. It was great to see deer running around. But they become a bit of a nuisance, There's far too many of them. As a councillor, I get calls all the time about deer that have been hit by a car and they're lying on the side of the road and need to be removed. And also from the car owners as well, asking what are we going to do about the deer population and the massive increase in the deer population over the last 10 or 15 years, which is plain to be seen if you're here in South Donegal. And I know the deer probably originated up in Glenveigh, but like here in Mount Charles, we're a long way from Glenveigh Park, but the deer don't care, they're moving out farther and farther all the time, and we have massive amounts of deer around here. And now we welcome Michael coming on board there on the deer management, but we just think that, well, I personally think that there should be some sort of account so we can get to grips with the problem. But the first thing we need to do is find out what the problem is, how many deer we're dealing with,
Yeah, but Michael, I'm
not like Michael. I'm no expert, but I think that's the approach we should take,
Yeah, Michael, but you say it's evidence. There's evidence out there that the count, it might not even be accurate and doesn't really add anything to the equation.
That is the evidence from the research we have done. Yes, that counting really is not as big an issue as people like. I know, you'd look at it and you say, oh, we need to start with some kind of a figure. But actually, trying to obtain that information, as I said, it's difficult. Like getting like you'll end up with a figure. How accurate it is very debatable. So what we're saying is focus on the impacts, and that's what best practice across Europe seems to be, is focus on impacts, not focusing on the numbers as such, because it's just too hard to get an accurate number. And I understand what Councillor Brogan is saying there, but at the same time, when you look at the science behind it, this is the method that seems to be bringing the best results in terms of value for money and everything else.
Councillor Jimmy Brogan's far from Glenveigh, but Councillor Michael McClafferty is somewhat closer. You've raised the issue of deer on a number of occasions, Michael. I presume you're welcoming this new deer management unit, or these new units.
Yeah, I am, Greg, to be fair, very much so. I think it's long overdue, and I welcome what Michael's doing there as leading the management going forward there. I also respect Jimmy's point as well there about the counting that, but while I respect Jimmy's point and what he's saying, I have to lean towards Michael's point of view. The impact is more beneficial to all of us, because as you know, I'm close by Glenveigh here, Greg, as you say, as all of us are here down this neck of the woods. But the reality is we've had dozens and dozens of cars smashed here over the last number of years, particularly a few alone, ourselves in the last year or so with the years. Some of those, to be fair, have had very, very close shaves. Well, everybody has had a smash, obviously, but there's been one case in particular stands out where a small child was almost seriously hurt. The deers had actually come in the window and just virtually just grazed the child's face as such. Like, this is how serious it gets. And again, what the Parks and Wildlife Service, Greg, nobody's taking responsibility, but yet you can go out to Glenveigh, I can go out to Glenveigh, either the gentleman on, Michael or Jimmy can go out past Glenjoe Church, out that direction there in Church Hill, and there's miles upon miles there, or kilometres, miles, wherever you want to look at it, of the fence completely flattened, Greg, broken down, nothing to keep them in. So I'd be leaning towards the way of, first of all, get the call started, get the call done, obviously appropriately and effectively starting, I think, as well, with the good hunters that we have close by us here. They need to be very much involved in this as well for geographical reasons, safety, one thing another. And like I said the last day in Lifford, Greg, as well, we need to be focusing as well as Colin, we need to focus as well also on containing and a huge, if National Parks and Wildlife are serious about this call going forward as a government state agency, it would be a huge start, I think, to put up the fence in Glenveigh again, to at least maintain them, whatever's in Glenveigh, whatever's left, maintain them in Glenveigh, to give us a chance then on the outside then going forward then.
All right, well, let's ask Michael that, because it might sound like a good idea, but is the population so spread and breeds in such a fashion that that might not be as big a factor? Michael Keegan, how important is robust fencing around Glenveigh? It's a lot to ask landowners who maybe don't have their own animals on that land at any given time to start fencing that off. I don't know how does that fit into this programme, Michael?
Well, I can't speak for the National Parks and Wildlife Service, but what I can tell you is that fencing deer is very, very expensive, and it's questionable as to how effective it is. They will, you put up a deer fence today, and it's great and all that, and it looks brilliant, but it doesn't take very long for that to start getting smashed down. You'll have trees falling on it, you'll have animals testing it, and they test it. It's particularly the bigger the area, if you fence in a massive big area and give the deer no option to go through that area, they'll find a way to push through it. They'll go under it, they'll jump over it, they'll actually go straight through it. So fencing smaller areas seems to actually work better, because there's room for the deer to go between the smaller areas in the unfenced pieces. So fencing deer is not the silver bullet either. I think certainly it's going to be part of it, and there will be areas that will have to be fenced. But as regards fencing the entire national park, that's really a question for them to answer, not for me. I can't really answer on their behalf on that one.
No, I get you, and you've answered it well.
You're talking about a huge sum of money as well.
That's it.
So the debate then is the debate then would be do you focus your efforts on, do you focus the budget, which is going to be tight on all these things? Do you focus your budget on reducing the numbers, or do you focus your budget on fencing the deer? Because really, fencing the deer is only focusing on the symptom. It's not the problem. The problem is too many animals.
And the 13 staff short at Glenveigh as well, too, and it's all coming out of the same pot. Yeah. Michael, did you want to come back in?
And it has to be said, to be fair to the National Parks and Wildlife staff, the guys that are on the ground, in my experience, are usually very, very committed and put in a huge effort, but they are understaffed. Like, and
Oh,
that's
yeah,
that's a fact. They are understaffed.
Michael McClafferty, did you want to come back in there? Sorry, I think you indicated you might.
Yeah, please briefly, Greg, there in relation to the fence end of it. Look, first of all, the staff whatever the remaining staff in Glenveigh National Park up there, I know there's 13 short at the moment, but the remaining staff, they're going far and beyond the call of duty always, everything they do up there. But my point of view is here, and Michael's probably not aware of this, I understand there's 40 kilometres of fencing right around the whole perimeter of Glenveigh. A vast majority of that at the minute, Greg, is tumbled down, smashed down, broken down. When that was back in its heyday, if you like, that fence was, I understand, 8-9 foot high in most places. Nothing would get out.
Yeah, but they've got a 100-year plan at Glenveigh to return it to, more of a natural habitat and all that type of stuff. You want to get rid of the deers that are going to hinder that, not fence them in, surely.
Well, Greg, fence them in, first of all, because we don't want hindrance either on the road. It's only a matter of time. Like, things keep on going the way they're going. It's only a matter of time to have a very serious road traffic accident. And I hope to God, touch wood here, we don't have a fatality out of it.
And Jimmy, you share that. You share that in the south of the county, as to say, I've seen red deer run across Clore there. That you just don't know where they're going to appear.
Yeah, the problem is this. Like Michael said, somebody is probably going to be killed at some stage with a red deer because they are massive big animals, And there's a lot of other issues, like the TB. Obviously, the farmers are worried that deer are spreading TB as well. And they talk about the expense, but the expense of the TB testing around the country, and then if a farm can't sell animals for a while, the expense on that farmer then, because they can't sell we just have to worry out figure out which is the biggest expense and which is the best spent money, But I think there's a lot of things the department could be doing, they could be giving some sort of a subsidy or premium to the hunters, to shoot or to cull the deer, and then if we had a proper count, we could find out where, or some sort of account, we would know at least where the real problem areas are, and the hunters could concentrate on certain areas, because hunters could be coming here to Mount Charles and there might be a couple of deer, and they might go to Glencullen Kill, there might be thousands,
Yeah, but 1,000 deer will have a greater impact than the 6 deer in one space, so presumably. I don't know, I get where you're coming from. Michael Keegan, is there anything, we often get this up, I'm not even sure if this is in your area as such, about the deer themselves once they have been culled? Is the meat of any use? Can it be used, or what's the story? It always comes up, and I don't know the answer, obviously, Michael Keegan, so I'm asking you.
Yeah, look, venison is a very good protein source. It's high quality. It's very lean. It's probably underutilized in this country. I would say we don't have a tradition really of eating venison as such in this country, and most of the venison that's shot in this country actually ends up being exported. We only have 4 game dealers in the Republic at the moment that I'm aware of. Although I was told by somebody that there was a new guy had started up there. I haven't got contact details for him yet, but it's only recent development, I think. So we're looking at 4 really in the country, and we've 1 in the north of Ireland. So, it would be nice if we could, if I had a wish list, I would love to see a situation in a few years' time where we had, properly developed some kind of a home venison market, and it was seen as it was a valued product, because at the moment it's cheaper than beef and lamb.
Well, there you go.
It's cheaper. It should be cheaper to buy than beef and lamb, because the price at the game dealer end of it is very little. Okay. From a hunter's point of view, they don't really get enough out of it, and you would imagine that it should be a viable thing. But
okay.
Again, we can't interfere in private business, but we can.
No, Jimmy wanted to come in there. Yep, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah,
and
just
then I'll go
to make a point. It is a very lean and very healthy meat, venison. I've eaten venison myself, and there's nothing. I like venison, but it's listen, everybody has their own taste.
I know that. I'm just saying.
But it's something that should be used, because the price of beef is going through the roof, and the price of lamb, and thankfully the farmers are getting a wee bit more now for it than they used to be, and we have to look at there's a bigger conversation of the price of meat and who's making the most out of it. But
we were talking about that in terms of milk. Michael McClafferty, you want to come back in there as well?
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Yeah, that's fair enough, and Jimmy makes a good point there about the price of meat and that as well, and the cost of living. But back to Michael's point there again about the venison, that as well. As we all know at the Mars, I highlighted on Friday there as well, Jimmy talked about it as well, and I suppose a number of us didn't live it. the situation at the minute with the deers and indeed the badgers too, or not forget how stripey because I mentioned him too. The problem is at the minute, particularly where there's huge impact in deer areas, Greg, is people, farmers with cattle find themselves now with TB. There is a connection with TB, with badgers to cattle, and unfortunately that's there as well. And a concern as was raised on Friday as well at the meeting. How do you know if you're eating venison or whatever? How do you know that's safe to eat? There's no testing.
Yeah, but if it became a proper, fully regulated. Anyway, Michael's going to answer that one. Michael Keegan. I mean, I presume, like everything, there has to be checks and balances about the quality of any food or meat that's going into the food chain.
There is, yeah. So any hunter bringing game to a game handling establishment has to. First of all, you have to be a trained hunter. You can't, a trained hunter that's trained from a food safety point of view. So there is a course that you have to do in order to sell deer into one of these establishments. It's called the Trained Hunter course, and that would, in that course it goes through all the different diseases that deer can get and why they get them and how they get them, and also the identification of these diseases, and that has to be flagged. So if you bring an animal to a game dealer, you have to, if you suspect that it has something. Now, bear in mind these are hunters, not vets. But if you suspect that there's something wrong with that animal, you have to declare that. If the animals then, when they go into the game handling establishment, they are all inspected by veterinary staff in there, so they are inspected. So there is a process there to check whether the animals are in good health or not.
Okay, Michael Keegan, one last question. Are the DMUs already established? Is there a phone line where people can report directly if there's an issue in their area? Or how do the wider public feed into this reporting system?
Yeah, well, look, at basically, yes, the DMUs are established. There's 15 DMUs have been set up across the country. The way to contact is if you just contact frscoop.ie/deer. That will bring you to a webpage and there's contact details there, and you can get in touch with FRS directly. Any FRS office directly in your local area, they'll put you in touch then with the local hunter in your area, the local coordinator in your area, and he will in turn then, go and start the process, and that'll be like, evaluating what you have in terms of what problem you have and whether you have a hunter or not, or whether he's effective or whatever. And if he's not effective, we can help you with that too. We can get you somebody else,
right? Okay,
or whatever. But the first port of call will be the local hunters. So if you've got a farm there and you're affected by deer, if you have a hunter, we'd like to stay working with the hunter that you have. Or if you don't have a hunter, we'll try and get somebody local in, because the local people will know the area a lot better than somebody from.
Okay, Michael, listen, that phone line's fading on us. Thank you very much indeed. Michael Keegan, FRS Co-op's Deer Management Programme Manager. Michael McClafferty, thank you very much indeed. And I know you, as you've referenced a couple of times, we're talking about this in the council chamber, so good to get it out there to the wider public. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks.
All right, take care of yourself. And from beautiful Mount Charles, Councillor Jimmy Brogan, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Greg.
Look after yourself, take care. Okay, any views in relation to that? 08660 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
When you hear these names, you'll think tries and tackles. But off the pitch, Jamieson Gibson Park surfs. Tygburn bakes. And Ryan Baird fishes. Game-changing talent isn't always what you expect. Just like Vodafone Business. We're experts in more than you might think, with cybersecurity, cloud solutions and collaboration tools. So your business can change the game. Search Your Business Can.
All innovative, all inspiring, all yours. Discover the Audi 261 range with Audi All Access at your local dealership. Join us at our nationwide open house event from October 17th to 24th and experience exhilarating test drives, unmissable offers, and exclusive product upgrades. Book a test drive with Audi All Access today. Audi. Vorsprung durch Technik.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
Mary here from the cosmetic department at McGee's Chemist to let you know that Loncombe have a great beauty gift available here this week. Buy 2 Loncombe products, want to be skincare, and you'll get a free 7-piece gift of your choice of either Renergy or Hydroscent travel size creams and more iconic Loncombe products. This offer is available until Saturday the 11th of October, or while stocks last. Some T's and C's apply. For any skincare advice, you can always talk to myself or any staff member here at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
She's the Queen of Country and Irish, Margot, live in concert. Catch Margot with the Ryan Turner Band Wednesday the 22nd of October at the Mount Errigal Hotel in Letterkenny, with special guests Shinny Cramsey and Damian Davis. Tickets available now at the hotel reception. Call 07491 22 700. Join Margot at the Mount Errigal Hotel October 22nd for an unforgettable evening of music and memories.
As the days get shorter, the kids get back to school, and we start to make our homes a little cozier. We're all looking for smarter ways to save. Electric Ireland can help get you there. Switch to our best smart meter plan and save up to 30%. Visit electricireland.ie. EAB €1,183 based on 12-month home electric plus SST Saver electricity. Discounted unit rates with online billing, direct debit and VAT. Smart meter required. Subject to change. T's and C's apply.
Is féidir le drogaí áine sa dul a bhaid mar tar bheala éagsúla, ach cuireann siad ar fada isteachart agus tú ag tomaint. Is féidir le roinnt drogaí tú bhfuilliú, rud a ágan bhfuil buail go nionad tú botún.
Cuireann drogaí eile farragar tí bhír don ruistíortha. Bhín tú ag tomaint ruisciúpaí
Má bhín tú ag tomaint faoi cheannachar drogaí is féidir leis tusa do chuid passionéirí agus daoine eile ar a móthar a chur a míl. Ná tomaint faoi cheannachar drogaí go brach, ónúdar as umhaváilteocht ar bmhóithire. Tour court at rsa.ie.
Ready to upgrade your car? At Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town, we've got a great selection of makes and models to suit every budget. With flexible finance option and trade-ins welcome, upgrading has never been easier. Visit ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to see us at Shane Conley Cars, Drumlonagher, Donegal Town.
If you're getting new furniture or it's time for a change, pay a visit to McGinley's Furniture in Letterkenny. There you'll find a selection of suites, beds and bedroom furniture, dining room and occasional furniture. You'll be amazed by the selection and pleasantly surprised by the prices. At McGinley's Furniture, Portlink Business Park, Port Road, Letterkenny. And online at mcginleysfurniture.com.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Okay, the weather's going to be pretty settled today. Temperatures in the mid-teens. There's a very important motion coming before the Dáil this week from Deputy Charles Ward, 100% Redress Party, and it's in relation to the handling of the entire defective concrete block crisis. Deputy Ward, thanks for joining us. I appreciate your time. Sorry for holding you there.
It's okay. Morning, Greg, and morning to all the listeners.
Right, so this motion, I suppose in it you will outline what you see, will you, as state failures, the broken promises and the sense of abandonment felt by many in crumbling homes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it will be. It will be basically shouting it from the rooftops in Dáil Éireann tomorrow, Wednesday, and basically getting the message out there that Dublin don't seem to realise that Donegal has a humanitarian crisis going on, and we've been abandoned for the last 14 years, 2 failed schemes with absolutely no way of moving forward without going into debt. It's unacceptable.
We heard from your party colleague Ali Farron a little earlier on, who rightly pointed out, really, and it's you only have to look at it, that despite the odd human interest story here and there, nationally there seems to be this sense that the problem's been fixed. What are you moaning about?
Yeah, this is exactly what's going on. what we've got going on right now, defective concrete is in every single county in Ireland, and now they're starting to waken up to it. But there's an apprehension, particularly from government parties, who now realise too little, too late, that it's coming to their doorstep, it's coming to their constituency office, and they're coming to me for advice. That's what's going on.
You talked about the schemes being failed. Is the second scheme a failed scheme? Can it be saved? If we get the new science and we start, offering options based on that science, and maybe even try and widen the financial scope to, to help more families be able to, rebuild their homes without having to go to the bank or their savings if they're lucky enough. Can this current scheme, in your view, be saved?
Right now, the way it sits, no. If we have a review of IS 465 and it comes back with recommendations where we cannot have, and under no circumstances can we have, remediation options where there's defective materials left behind. Unacceptable. If that is the case, then these people will be revisiting these homes again. If it's defective, then it has to go all the way down to the foundations. That's the only way we can make this scheme work. Right now, we have a number of people who have had remediation options with materials left behind who are deeply regretting what they've done, because at the time it was about getting on with it and trying to get on with their lives. When they're in this situation now, they're looking and they're going, I'm going to have to revisit this again. We have a history of outer leaf remediation failing, but the government don't take into consideration science. It's real simple. All you need to do is follow the science, and the science tells the truth, and the government are blind to that currently at the moment.
Yeah, and even those that, are waiting for the speed to be expanded to accommodate them better, there are so many people who are in limbo, people in council houses, for an example, many others. There are so many different categories of people who maybe their voices are being lost a little bit, but they're going through this every single day with no hope, no scheme.
Yeah, but Greg, it's like this. If you're in a social house or it's a private house that you built yourself, as it is, you have the same rights. Everybody is equal, and there should be no difference. But the fact of the matter is, we have people who have been in social housing who've had that house, let's say an SI house, on their land for 20 plus years. That house is affected. They were maybe trying in the future to buy that house. Right now, they're in limbo. There's no scheme in place. We can't see it coming. We don't know what it looks like, but we keep on hearing it's definitely on the way. Now, what it looks like, why can't we see this? Because it's like everything else, it's the government and the lack of will. They have to waken up to what's coming down the line here.
Have you been able to, using your position, I know the answer to this, as an elected rep, it's a very important role, been able to get any answers from the housing agency yourself? And I'm thinking even something that should be simple to answer, such as those downgraded homeowners, for an example. The lack of respect or communication is shocking. Surely they can't ignore an elected TD in sort of giving answers to delays.
Well, Greg, I'll give you an example. We've had NSAI in, and basically NSAI around the table, and they're the standard that we're meant to be going on. And basically when they came into us, I had to basically ask them, who here has experience of construction? Came down to the three people that were in the room. There was only one. That's who I dealt with. I'm not dealing with anybody that's not got their head in the game. I'm not going to waste my time. And that's the way it is. You have to be direct. Now, I've met with the Housing Authority. I've met with a number of other groupings, but there's a difference between meeting all these groupings and the government. The government take advice from all these people. Now, the people in the room aren't going to be taking it seriously after this. They're going to have to take it seriously, because we're not going to stop. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning of what should be a pathway to a proper scheme.
Yeah, and it's the understanding of the problem. I mean, I know you're close and often sit beside Catherine Connolly, for an example, who has heard you speak, is acutely aware of the words, how they describe what's going on here. And even she never got the full impact of the problem until she recently went into one of these houses. And I think that's the problem. I think... and that's someone who's very sympathetic to your way of thinking, right? So it only makes you wonder what the rest of the 167 odd TDs really think is going on up here.
Greg, Catherine came to my house when we were canvassing. I took her around my house and she broke down, and she basically said that she couldn't believe I was living in conditions like this. But tens of thousands of people are every single day, and it's not just me. There's people that are worse off and they're being ignored, and I'm not going to let this happen. I'm determined to fight.
Do you know the funny thing is
though,
and you can do your bit, but depending on what time of the day your motion's being moved, there could be 5 people in there in the Dáil. Do you know?
There could be 5 people in there, Greg. Yeah,
I mean that's a housing crisis affecting tens of thousands of people.
Yeah, but you see, there you go. You're right. But guess what? This is meant to be the biggest scheme in Ireland, a €2 billion scheme, and we'll soon see how serious we're going to take this. There's a thing in the government, a lack of will. Well, I'll tell you what. I will show them what will is all about.
Right, we'll watch on with interest. There'll be plenty of coverage of that. Obviously, it's very, very significant in this whole process. Thanks for your time this morning, Deputy
problem.
Charles Ward of the 100% Redress Party, and we'll keep an eye out as to how many are moved to attend that. Certainly, from Donegal, you'd imagine it would be the full 5, so to speak. Listen, thanks so much for listening today. Have a wonderful day, will you? Thank you again for